WNXX Jackson, 1049 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're listening along with us up in Shreveport on 1130 The Tiger, if you are watching with us on CST or on our YouTube channel 104.5 or Hangin with Hester and Hanny page, welcome in and a good afternoon to you on a Tuesday in the capital city where the weather is good but does not figure to stay that way for very long. By now, you probably have been updated on Hurricane Delta, which is going to dominate our lives here for the next several days. And the track that has this now Category 4 storm tracking towards the Louisiana coastline and right up through Baton Rouge. Now, I'm not going to try to play weather guy here. You know the drill. You've been through this enough times. The track could change. A whole bunch of things could happen. The storm will probably weaken before it hits the coast. How much? Like I said, I'm not going to try to play weatherman. There's a very dangerous storm headed our way. We can leave it at that.
Was there any doubt that 2020 was going to have hurricane season like this one?
I mean,
was there any doubt?
I'm waiting for the frogs and locusts at this point. I mean, 2020 just won't let up. So what we do here is we talk about the impact that things like hurricanes and pandemics and protests have on sports. So that's what we'll do here. So first thing you should know is that LSU is pursuing all kinds of options. If there is an option that hasn't been mentioned, trust me, they've probably even discussed that one. So here's what you should know, and this is the absolute latest that I can give you. All options remain on the table at this point. They have not, at this point, definitely decided to move this game out of Baton Rouge, but that could very easily happen. A move to Columbia, Missouri is not preferred by LSU. This is their home game. And so if the game is not played in Baton Rouge, I'm not telling you it can't be played in Columbia, but that is certainly not the home team's preference here. So I would put that contingency if this game is moved out of Baton Rouge at the back of the line. Yeah. Could happen, but I'd put it at the back of the line. So now you're talking about neutral sites. And right now, you asked me for a guess, I'd say that Houston would probably be the preference and NRG Stadium. The issue with that is that the Texans have a game at noon on Sunday, and could they get everything accommodated and turned around? But it's the easiest travel city for the two schools. The other things that are on the list right now are Dallas and Shreveport. I don't know that those two are any particular order, but if you're just asking me today, and this could change in an hour, but if you're asking me right this second, if the game's moved out of Baton Rouge, they're going to probably try to play this thing in Houston. That happens, we'll see. Again, the Texans have got a game at noon on Sunday. Moving the date is still on the table, but I would put that probably in the same category as playing a game in Columbia, Missouri. That is not what they want at all.
LSU wants to play this game bad because of the way they finished last week, because what it would mean going into Florida, all those things that our listeners know.
And, of course, they don't want to fill in the off week before Alabama with a game if they don't have to. They don't want to fill in the game at the end of the season if they don't have to.
Can I say I'm not a fan of the bye week before Alabama as a player?
You can.
I hate that.
Okay.
And y'all know my reason. I hate bye weeks. I've told y'all so many times. I've been a part of it. NFL teams, two different teams that have won 11 games in a row, got a bye in the playoffs and lost the next game. When you're going good, I hate a bye week. It just halts everything, and I would prefer to not have that. But I understand what you're saying. It's put in a perfect spot in the season for them to rest up.
They have requested that bye week for the last decade at least. If you got to have it somewhere. I never minded the bye week being before Alabama because it came at a natural break point in this season. I always hated September buys. I'm not a big fan of November buys. This is a November buy, but it's stupid season.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about in a regular season. I like the bye to be in October somewhere, middle to end of October. Used to be you didn't want to play 7 games in a row back when there was an 11-game schedule, but that's not as etched in stone as it used to be now that you're at a 12-game schedule and you could play as many as 15. So I never minded that the bye was where it was because it was a natural breaking point in the season. So the timetable, first of all, the other thing is that the time of this game, which is scheduled for an 8 o'clock kickoff, is also subject to change. Television's not going to hold their feet to the fire on that start time because of the circumstances of the hurricane. So if they have to move the site of the game, they could also move the time of the game. And remember that LSU's got to get back. You're not exactly wanting to fly home or come home in a Category 4 storm or whatever it is by that time. So the time of the game could move as well. Time to make a move. I would say, from what I'm told, that LSU probably needs to have a plan in place by tomorrow night to announce on Thursday morning to get everybody where they need to get. So that's it. That's where we are. Thoughts, hopes, dreams, aspirations, reaction to any of this?
The hopes is you play 8 o'clock in Baton Rouge just like it was scheduled.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You don't want any moving parts. You don't want to have to be going to Houston. You don't want to go to Dallas. You don't want to have to go to Shreveport. You don't want to have to move the game anywhere.
Without trying to be Nash Roberts here, looking at the path of this thing and the timetable of this thing. I mean, look, we've seen enough hurricanes change.
Saturday at 8 a.m. right now?
Yeah.
That's when it's supposed to hit Baton Rouge. 2 a.m. the coast of Louisiana, I think.
8 a.m. The latest from the National Hurricane Center is this thing will be pretty much on top of Baton Rouge at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. Yeah. Subject to change, of course. We've seen these things hang a left, hang a right, but I talked to my weather people this morning, and this looks.
Who's like the go-to weather name that you use? Because mine's Ed Duranzik, who was like the weather guy in Shreveport forever. And anytime I try to play weatherman, that's the name I use.
There's a lot of good ones. I can pick up the phone and call Kevin Ford pretty easy. He fishes for a living, so he knows all of the guys down there.
He's
been following weather his whole life, his career, his livelihood depends on weather patterns. So he studies that stuff pretty closely. But there's a lot of good ones.
So I can't say from the football aspect of actual on the field, the last thing you want is to not be able to capitalize off what you did a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
You want to continue that growth as you head into the swamp. And the swamp's not going to look like we know it to look. I understand that, but it's still a road game against a really good team, a team that's doing whatever they want right now offensively. So there's things that you want to work on both sides of the ball to head into that matchup. So not playing this game would be a major hit to LSU.
I think they're going to play it. I think they'll put it this way. They are moving heaven and earth to play it. So I think canceling a game, moving it to a spot later in the year is, if it's not the last thing they want to do, it's the second to last thing they want to do. Put it as co-last things. The last thing they would want to do is either move this game to another date or move this game to Columbia, Missouri. They don't want to do either one of those things. They don't absolutely have to.
Wouldn't that be so 2020 that LSU's first visit to Mizzou would be in that fashion?
Yes, that would.
They've been in the conference for a decade almost, and you still haven't been there.
They played Troy more times, I think, than they played Missouri. But you really got to throw your hands up at this year at times, man. I can't. I was only partially joking when I said, the frogs and the locusts and the plagues of the Bible and things like that. It's like, what's next? And you just, you're about to get hit in the mouth here with another major hurricane. And it's just like, enough, leave us alone, man. Can we have some relief at all? And the answer this week is not yet. So
I wonder, not to cut you off there, but I wonder what
I was done.
I wonder how Mizzou would handle that if it did get moved to a place like Shreveport. Say it got moved there. Obviously, Dallas, Houston, that's a little bit different situation. If it got moved there, when they would travel, obviously they'd have a hotel. Shreveport obviously has plenty enough space there, but I just wonder how they would handle that travel, how soon they would go. Would they try to pull one of those Patriot moves like we saw yesterday and go the day of the game?
That is not that is on the table, but that is not preferred.
Since it is a late kick, if it stayed the same time, they would have the opportunity to fly in that morning.
Could they do that? Yes. From LSU's standpoint, it's wherever you go, are you going to be able to get back?
Yeah.
Where's the storm going to be? What's the status of everything going to be when the game is over and you're trying to come home? I can't answer that today. I don't think anybody can answer that today. So that's the latest. The options are all on the table. Anything else?
No, other than that, it's just a nice little Tuesday afternoon here.
Let's do
the Braves are playing today.
They are.
Who's not playing today?
The Cubs.
The Cubs.
I'm glad about that, too, because if Hunt Palmer got here at 1 o'clock and the Braves-Cubs game started at 1 o'clock, I think I'd be talking to myself.
True. Well, there's a possibility you and Hunt are going to be having a discussion at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I figured.
Because if you saw anything during the Reds-Braves series, I'm not Hunt Palmer. I can't multitask because I'm cheering.
Well,
who were we talking to last week when it was locked up at 0-0 and I was trying to wave the guy home?
I don't remember who the guest was, but I knew where your head was, so I was okay with that. Hunt Palmer will be with us at 1 o'clock. We'll do first class, second class, no class. Chris Doring at 2:15. Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South is on with us at 12:30. We got some fresh audio from Ed Orgeron. We'll let you hear from that. Some stuff from Sean Payton. Did you watch Monday Night Football? You enjoyed the doubleheader last night? I did too. I did too.
It was a nice little surprise there.
Chiefs take care of the Patriots, and the Packers beat the Atlanta Falcons, and we are at lunchtime in Atlanta, Georgia, and Dan Quinn still has a job.
Very true. Somebody doesn't have a job
by the time the sun goes down, but for the moment he does.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien, not as lucky yesterday.
Nope.
Didn't you wish you had fired him before he traded DeAndre Hopkins?
Yep. Or traded 37 first-round picks to the Dolphins, all those type of things.
Right. If you're a Texans fan, you would have preferred to do that move a little bit earlier.
Playboy Marty's probably pretty happy they didn't get fired because he had DeAndre Hopkins out of the deal.
Is he evacuated already? I mean, I ain't seen him in 3 days.
Yeah. I don't know.
We have a Playboy Marty sighting? See?
I heard him last night on Game Time.
It's a natural.
There's no shot.
Yeah, we'll see him by 6 o'clock tonight. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hang with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. Right now, interest rates at historic lows. And when you talk about historic lows, it means it's time for you to assess your financial situation. Maybe there is some advantage to be had for you, either in a refinance. Maybe it's time to look at a new home. You'll have more purchasing power now than ever before. You sit with a qualified counselor from GMFSmortgage.com, and they will answer all your questions. They'll get some information. What are you trying to accomplish? Do you want to get your current home paid off sooner? Do you want to change the size of your mortgage? Would you just want to keep the same length of mortgage, but do you want lower prices every month to increase your cash flow? A refi will also allow you to skip a payment or two, maybe free up a little bit of cash for some other projects. Whatever your goals are, they'll help you attain them, and you'll go from there all the way to the close in a very rapid period of time. I think you're going to be very pleased with the results. Do what I did and thousands of others have done and start your financial journey at GMFSmortgage.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jani-King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Jani-King, the king of clean.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 19...
Coming up on Wednesdays Off the Bench, we close the book on the football week that was, and we give birth to a new one. As we look forward to the best matchups of Week 5 in the NFL and Week 3 in the SEC. Plus, Booker McFarland stops by. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we welcome you back in to Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South in about 13 minutes from right now. Ed Orgeron on with the boys this morning in his usual Monday spot. Had a lot of nice things to say. Had a lot of players that he wanted to single out, and he started out with the quarterback.
You know, Miles has worked very hard, been very loyal to LSU, has a strong arm, and he's a very good quarterback. And he made some adjustments in his pocket presence. He slid up in the pocket. He was a lot more patient. He threw the ball when the guy was open. I thought he did a tremendous job from week 1 to week 2, and I think you're going to see a quarterback that's going to improve every week.
He would later go on to attribute Miles's, I don't want to say struggles, but the things that he didn't do as well in week 1 to nerves.
A little bit of both. Not a lot of experience, not wanting to make a mistake, and there was too much pressure. I mean, Mississippi State was coming after us. It was different. The Vanderbilt did not give us all the pressure that Mississippi State did. So I think it's a combination of pressure and a combination of just experience. You
remember your first game for LSU? The first start for LSU. It was going through your head, you know, you're kind of spinning a little bit.
My first game, Oregon State, I didn't necessarily get to start, but I played a bunch in that game, and it was everything was spinning. I had a chance to block a punt. I break free and didn't panic, but almost was so shocked that I broke free in the A gap that I stopped just a little bit and barely missed the block punt. Just things like that. Like, if you give me that opportunity game 3, well, I'm running straight to the punter. I'm blocking that punt. But in the first game,
so it's your fault LSU didn't cover.
You're still mad about a cover in 2004?
I'm not.
We won the game, Hanny.
3 missed extra points.
Thank God. The guy won the Groza Award the next year.
No, I didn't have anything on that game, okay. But I do remember that LSU was a pretty significant favorite and won by a point.
Yeah, you don't sound bitter at all.
Promise you, I had nothing to do with that game. Miles, the Orgeron also very high on John Emery's performance.
Yeah, he's an ever down back. He can be down in there third down, first down, second down. We need to throw the ball to him more out the backfield. The guy's a tremendous athlete. I'm very pleased with the coaching of Kevin Falk. Kevin coaches pass protection. Every time you go to his individual, they coach him pass protection first. That's how Kevin learned it at the Patriots. And we're just pleased. I'm pleased with John that he's got bigger and stronger in the weight room. He's all around back now.
I can tell you that's something that I noticed in the game, and it was something that he struggled with a year ago. And I've told you this before, a lot of backs struggle with pass protection the first time out in high school. You don't have to do it. You're the best player on the field, so they don't ask you to stay in and block. They try to get you out, free release, get you the ball in space. Well, in college, they're going to ask you to block. And it's something he struggled with. He did a really nice job of switching up when to stay up and when to cut block. You don't want to become someone who has a tendency to always cut block, because if you do that, they're going to play the cut, they're going to get to the quarterback. I thought it was a nice change of pace. I'd say out of 6 times, I think there was 2 cut blocks, and they stayed up on 4 of them. So that's very important that you don't just trust your cut, because I've seen more guys who do that. Then you start diving at their ankles and not their knees, and it can really be a mess. You're going to get your quarterback hit. So I thought he did a really nice job. And Kevin Falk's one of the best you'll ever see at pass protection. So you're learning from that guy. That's going to go a long way.
It's his physicality in both pass protection and the ability to run through the tackles, the biggest upgrade in his game.
We didn't say he had that, because what did we talk about in the offseason? Get him the ball in space.
In space, yeah.
Right? He's elusive. We've seen him catch a swing pass, make a guy miss, and go get to pay dirt, right? Well, not only this game, but Mississippi State, go back and watch that tape. He ran tough. I think he's averaging right now close to 6 yards after contact. I know he was well over 5 in the Vanderbilt game, and I think the Mississippi State numbers are actually even better than that. That's not something that we counted on from him. The other 2 backs, the big backs, well, yeah, that's what you count on. If he can give you that, that's going to go a long way, because we know he can do the other part of it. And we've talked about running back by committee. You can still have that, but if you're LSU, you'd love for John Emery to go take that job. He's the number 1 running back in the country for a reason.
Orgeron also heaping some praise on Eli Ricks.
He was much improvement. Obviously, having Derek Stingley back made the difference in our defense. I think it calmed everybody down. It calmed the corners down. They played with more confidence. We didn't have a lot of missed assignments. We didn't have any big deep balls thrown on us. There wasn't a lot of crossing routes that were completed. I thought our coverage was very well. I thought both did a great job of game planning. Elias Ricks had a bunch of interceptions in high school. He was the number 1 corner coming out of high school, out of modern day, and that's what he did. He was a ball hawk, and he's going to continue to do that. Now, he has to get better as his technique and his assignments. Again, he's a freshman.
2 interceptions in 2 games, both of them on nice plays on the ball. He's going to get his opportunities. Mm-hmm. They're going to go away from Stingley as much as they can. He has the opportunity to, in a 10-game season, put 5, 6, even 7 interceptions on the board with the start he's off to.
You're exactly right. And Derek Stingley Jr. is in the opposing quarterback's head before a ball's even snapped. We heard the Vanderbilt quarterback, when they asked him about Derek Stingley and trying to test him, he's like, man, it'd be cool if I could get one on Derek Stingley Jr. The way that guy's playing, almost like that he was an amateur and Stingley was a pro, right? And so we know that that's already in their thought process. He's going to get his opportunities. And there was a lot of growth from week 1 to week 2. I think he learned, okay, I can't, in man coverage, I can't lose sight of my receiver and go jump up and make a one-handed interception at the SEC level. I could do that in high school. And he got burned once, and I think he learned his lesson.
Orgeron also very happy with the play, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, of Jaquilin Roy.
Very pleased with the play of Jay Roy. I think that he had a great week of practice. He's lost some weight. He's got in shape. He has a great attitude. He looked like one of the best players on the field at some times on Saturday night, and I think that you're going to continue to see some improvement. Joseph Evans, very pleased with his play. Neil Farrell's making some plays, and very pleased with the pass rush. I think our pass rush is right where it needs to be. Really pleased with Travez Moore. Came in there and got a sack and got some pressure. So got some guys that can play up front.
Orgeron's very specific in his critiques of who's in shape and who's not. Mm-hmm. And it's not always just about weight. I remember when he got on Jamar Chase as a freshman, said he's not in shape. Certainly looks like he's in shape to me. Yeah. For Roy, he's listed at 302. He may be a little bit lighter than that. Yeah. He may be a little bit under 3 bills. He can move, Cat. I mean, you look at him, and he's taller, but he's got that wiggle a little bit. The moves, the hand fighting. Little bit taller, but he reminds me a little bit of a young Boga McFarland. when McFarland got here he got in 95, and there was one year, I think it was his junior year, that he played really slimmed down. Like he probably played at about 290. And boy, he just had it was like trying to block a greased bowling ball. You know, you just couldn't get a hand on him. Roy's got a little bit of that.
He reminds me of one of my former teammates, Claude Roten.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of Claude Roten into him as well. So if your back's to the offense, there was a play where they ran to the right side and he came off the defensive line and he was sprinting to come be in on this tackle, and you could kind of see the athleticism in that one play. And I'll get that cut up and I'll put it on our Twitter page because it's one of those plays that Coach O was looking for. He was looking for one of his defensive line to be able to make a play like that. So that was impressive, but his push in the pocket was just as impressive because you can be that athlete, but if you're a little light in the pants, they're going to push you around. He didn't allow that to happen.
We'll take a break and come back. Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South will be with us. We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Garcia Roofing. Garcia Roofing did so right by me. Look, I had a situation pop up. They came, they checked it out. They gave me that free roof inspection that we always tell you about, right? If you've got something going on and you want to know exactly what you need, well, they're going to come take a look, and it is a free service to you. And don't think that your project is too small for Garcia, right? We're going to get some rain this weekend. There's no doubt about that. If you notice that there is a leak on your roof, they will come and they can handle that. They're going to get it done, Hanny, and they're going to get it done the first time. That's just part of that Garcia guarantee you're going to get with Garcia Roofing.
In Baton Rouge, in New Orleans, in Covington, roof now, pay later. All your roofing, all your siding, all your gutters, and roof repair, roof replacement, roof cleaning. They are the largest residential roofing business in the South. So do what Jacob did, do what I've done, and do what thousands of others have done, and trust your home improvement to the folks at Garcia Roofing. Call 756-3100 or GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Rowan Davey talking Tigers, Larry Holder talking Saints, and UFC legend, the Iceman, Chuck Liddell joins us. Join us as well, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Connor O'Gara is our guest from Saturdays Down South. Connor, good afternoon. How are you?
Gentlemen, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
We're hanging in there. Gonna be a week, but we'll deal with it as best we can. I want to start with your latest, which was a formal apology letter to Stetson Bennett IV. I'll let you know you're in good company because you weren't the only one that had some doubts about him going into that game last week. But what did you see out of him on Saturday specifically that made you write this piece?
Well, I mean, I think you look at this side by side compared to him and Bo Nix, and I realize that Bo Nix is going against the number one defense in the country and a Georgia defense that looks historically good. But some of the moves that Stetson Bennett made when facing pressure, to me, showed that he's further along at being able to process that than even a Bo Nix. And that's a weird thing to say because Stetson Bennett IV is everybody's favorite mailman, and Bo Nix is the five-star guy who is starting as a true freshman. But, I saw some of the plays that he makes where he scrambles out and just peels out and rolls back to the left and makes a nice throw on the sideline. I saw the way that he put air under the football when he's throwing deep, the way that he was willing to take a hit. These are the things that the Georgia quarterback needs. We know that defense is really good, and you don't need to score 30, 40 points if you're Georgia to win games, but you need somebody who's not going to put the offense in holes continuously, which is what DeJuan Mathis was doing in his limited time as a starter. And I just saw what exactly what you needed to see from the Georgia quarterback. Now, I was dead wrong. I thought J.C. Daniels would get the start. I thought as soon as he was cleared, he was going to be the guy, and Kirby Smart was going to trust him. But you know what? From what we've seen so far from Stetson Bennett IV, I do feel like that Georgia is all of a sudden now a much different sort of playoff contender. And not to say that he's as good as some of these other SEC quarterbacks we've seen so far, but Georgia can win a lot of games with him, and they can win some big-time games if he's able to stare down a defensive coordinator like Kevin Steele like he did on Saturday night.
Connor, you said it. They can win a lot of games, but the Georgia model, Jake Fromm, a quarterback last year, DeAndre Swift, and a really good defense, right? So when you look at those three things, is Georgia better now to win championships with the current setup they have than they were a year ago?
You're right, but here's the difference. It's the offense. It's an offense that, with Todd Monken, is going to try and do things differently. Even with Stetson Bennett, they were more willing to take shots downfield, and that's what they wouldn't do so often last year. And that was the frustrating thing. And even if you watch this ground game, things are more spread out for Zamir White. It didn't look as predictable with some of those formations, those obvious run formations. And I like the fact that, too, and I'm not saying that Stetson Bennett is a better quarterback than Jake Fromm necessarily yet. The sample size is way too small. But I like that he's actually willing to run and move around with it, whereas Jake Fromm, they'd run those RPOs, and I don't even know the point of running an RPO like that if you have a quarterback who's not going to be willing to run. And I know LSU fans have dealt with this as well with Miles Brennan early on in some of these RPOs, but it just seems like Stetson Bennett is more willing to be able to adapt to this offense, and he's going to be able to execute it. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. Some of the same points that you bring up, time will tell, and we're going to see this week and next week if he can really stack up and be that guy. But I think that it's just different when you have this sort of personnel and this type of offense that's installed.
Connor O'Gara is, I guess, from Saturday Down South. Connor, let's go to the other heavyweight in the East, the Florida Gators. The concern there is on the other side of the ball. While Kyle Trask has had a magnificent start to the season, Florida has given up a lot of yards and a lot of points, and it would have been more had South Carolina not dropped so many passes on Saturday. How concerning is it to look at Florida and say the defense is going to be a liability, or is it a work in progress?
I think it's a work in progress. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be quite as good as what I was saying in the beginning of the year. I mean, I thought it could be a top 3, top 4 unit in the SEC. And I don't think it's going to be that. I would also say the offensive expectations have definitely risen for that group. But, defensively, so much of the Todd Grantham defense, as we know, is predicated on being able to get those pass rushers. And they really have had it's been a little bit hit and miss so far with being able to get pressure on the quarterback consistently. And we knew that was going to be a work in progress after losing guys like John Grenard and Jabari Zuniga. Now, they've had some really good defensive performances, individually speaking, up front. And Brenton Cox is starting to really emerge for that group with Ventrell Miller as well. But this is still a defense that needs to be able to do that, right? And we've seen at times when it looks like they don't necessarily have those playmakers in those areas, and that's probably the cause for concern right now. But Todd Grantham seems to always find those guys. It's just a matter of time. I think things will get better for that group when they're able to establish those presences and have more consistent production up front. But yeah, I mean, I don't ever think that they're going to be a top 2 defense in the SEC or anything like that. But with that offense, they don't need to be.
All right, Connor, let's get to Texas A&M. Last week, they got just mauled by Alabama. And this was a game that you heard in 2018, just wait till 2020. Wait till 2020 is going to be different. Well, the first sample size that we've gotten from them, we saw what happened, right? Alabama could have scored however many points they wanted to. They didn't figure out that Alabama's faster than them, and they didn't make those adjustments in the back end there. They've got Florida this week. If they go out there and they do get embarrassed by that Florida team that we've talked about, what's the conversation there? Because I still feel like there's no heat on Jimbo, and if you go out there and you start the season 1-2 and your one win is a struggle against Vanderbilt at home, there's got to be something that happens in Texas A&M just as far as the conversation.
Well, yeah, and part of the reason there's not going to be a conversation is because Jimbo Fisher still has $50 million left on that contract. That's not going to be paid off anytime soon, as we know. So that's kind of why that sort of conversation is different than hey, he's not really developing talent. And this is someone who had the most experienced SEC quarterback coming into the year, Kellen Mond. This is someone who has been able to retain coordinators all 3 years that he has been there so far, someone who signed top 6 recruiting classes each of the last 2 years, and his team still doesn't look that good. That's the frustrating thing for A&M, and the fact that, I brought up the stat all offseason about how in games against top 15 opponents, they led for 7 minutes and 42 seconds of a possible 300 minutes. They've led for 4 minutes and 16 seconds during 180 minutes of football against Alabama during the Jimbo Fisher era. That's not good. But at the same time, I sort of look at this matchup this week, and I'm kind of wondering, A&M with its back against the wall, could they actually beat Florida? I had this predicted in the preseason as Florida's lone regular season loss, and I'm kind of sticking with it. And I know that it kind of goes against what I just said, and I don't think that they're on that level, and I think Florida probably beats them 8 or 9 out of 10 times. But I think this weekend, maybe a Florida offensive line that's gotten a little bit too much confidence with what it's seen so far actually doesn't have as good of a performance against Mike Elko's front. And maybe A&M makes just enough plays down the stretch to catch Florida off guard. And that I could see happening this weekend in a year that so far has been unpredictable. It's been weird. And week to week, you just kind of never know what you're going to get. And maybe a Florida team that's sipping the Kool-Aid a little bit too much catches A&M at the wrong possible time, and that ends up being the big upset of the weekend.
Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South is our guest. Connor, very intriguing game to me at Sanford Stadium this weekend. Georgia and Tennessee. We've seen Tennessee win their first 2 games, a hard-fought game against South Carolina, and then an easy win against Missouri. This is the step up in class that we've been waiting to see if they can make. So, in your opinion, is Tennessee closer to the level of South Carolina, who they've already beaten in a close game, or are they closer to that top tier with Georgia and Florida?
Yeah, I think they're closer to that top tier. And I wouldn't have probably said that unless we saw what they did last week against Mizzou, especially in the second half, because I think that Mizzou defense is better than we give it credit for. And I like the way that they kept their foot on the gas. And their offensive line with Cade Mays now eligible and able to play looks really good. I mean, really good. But as for this matchup against Georgia, I wonder if they are too similar to Georgia to actually beat Georgia. And I think that Georgia, all the things that they do well, Tennessee also does well. But it seems like Georgia just does them better. And their identity is really similar. That was sort of the vision that Jeremy Pruitt had for this program when he took over. And you're starting to really see that come to fruition. But I'm trying to figure out the matchup where Tennessee is going to be able to get them. Because I would have thought if Stetson Bennett against that Tennessee defense, if that was the area, I thought we would have seen Stetson Bennett struggle a lot more against Auburn and against that front with Kevin Steele. And you know that he's able to disguise coverages and blitz packages really well. So I don't necessarily think that's the place where Tennessee can get them. And I'm just kind of wondering, where could Tennessee catch this Georgia team off guard? Because it's not going to be defensively. I mean, that defense looks historically good at this point. And I just kind of tend to think that while Tennessee should keep this game closer than it's been in years past, I do think that Georgia should have the advantage in a matchup like this.
Con, I want to ask you, who has the most pressure this week in the SEC? Because as I look at it, it might be Kentucky.
Yeah, I think it has to be at this point. And Kentucky is doing very un-Kentucky things, playing undisciplined football, and it almost feels like Kentucky bought into itself a little bit too much. And, you see
I bought in
like
maybe a little
Rose.
too much too, Connor.
Guilty. Hey, guilty. I thought they'd be 2-0 at this point. I did. And I thought that this was a Kentucky team that was going to be Mark Stoops' best. And they have not shown that so far. I mean, they're just not doing the little things. I mean, you have the A.J. Rose play. You miss an extra point in overtime. You're fumbling on the goal line. It's like, they can't get that big stop. They're turning the ball over. They haven't forced turnovers. The Kentucky is just not really that team that is kind of the us against the world. And maybe now that they're in this 0-2 hole and everybody's kind of backed off, maybe now is the time when Kentucky does a very Kentucky-like thing and beats Mississippi State. But I agree with you. I think there is a lot of pressure on Mark Stoops to be able to figure this out because this is the type of year you really don't want to get to like 0-3, 1-4, because there's just not those feel-good games on the schedule with a conference-only schedule this year, and you wonder about guys checking out during this COVID season when everything is just different and weird. And I would worry a lot if I'm a Kentucky fan about possibly facing an 0-3 deficit and what that could potentially mean, because this is a players-led team, and Cash Daniel will be the first guy to tell you they need an alpha. They need an alpha right now, someone who can stop the bleeding and figure it out, step up in that locker room and say, hey, this is over. This is in the past. We need to be able to move on. There's a lot of pressure on Mark Stoops to get it done this weekend.
Connor, understand I'm not saying that Ole Miss is going to beat Alabama this weekend. That defense is going to give up about a gazillion points. But I am interested in what Lane Kiffin might be able to do to attack Nick Saban's defense. Nobody knows him better that's in the league at this point anyway. And he does have enough offensive talent there to provide some gotcha moments, if you will. So how much hay can Ole Miss make on Saturday against the Tide? Not much. I've stunned him into silence.
Yes. It's always funny when that happens and you wait and you're like, maybe.
Is he just thinking about it? Or can we get a graphic, Paul? Can we get a graphic that just says 2020? Just the numbers. And every time something like this happens, we've got a quarter left of 2020. Just put that up on the screen. Just 2020. Just the numbers.
I'm sure Moscona has him working on something over there.
It's what happens. 2020. Okay. What? Is he back? Okay. Connor, are you there?
I just wanted to duck the call about Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
You got me really worried. I was like, no, I don't want to answer this. I'm just going to hang up right now. Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened.
Okay. Then your thoughts about Lane Kiffin and what they could do against an Alabama defense.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think this Ole Miss offense can just do so many different things. I think they can take advantage of a matchup in a secondary. They could stretch you out with Matt Corral taking shots downfield. I think that they can also do so many different things in the ground game and bring in John Rice Plumlee and Jerry Neely and Snoop Connor are both studs. This is the most versatile Ole Miss offense that we've seen in some time. And I realize that's saying a lot considering how much talent they've had at the skill player position during the last decade or so. But I think that they're going to be able to have success. And I think that they're going to do it in a different way than last year when John Rice Plumlee really sort of kind of came onto the scene nationally and had 109 rushing yards against Nick Saban, which does not happen often for an SEC quarterback. So I think that they're really going to be able to do a variety of things. I don't think this is going to be a banner day for Alabama. defensively, and this is going to frustrate Alabama fans, that they're really not able to put Ole Miss away like they would hope. So I do think that they're able to score a lot of points. Elijah Moore is going to have a big day receiving and catching a bunch of balls for that team. And I think Matt Corral continues on this really, really good start that he's had so far to 2020.
I don't think Alabama will have to punt, but on the other side.
Yeah.
Hey, Connor, I want to ask you before we let you go. Arkansas travels to Jordan-Hare and takes on the Auburn Tigers. Auburn just looked out of sync last week. They were overmatched by Georgia. Arkansas makes the adjustments. They beat Mississippi State. They get their first conference win, in forever. 20 games, right? And they've been losing 9 conference games. So to get a conference win like they did against Mississippi State, who upset LSU in week 1, was gigantic for them. What kind of success do you think they can have this weekend against Auburn, if any?
So remember how we were just saying how Mark Stoops has the most pressure on him of any SEC coach. If there's an assistant with more pressure on him in all of college football than Chad Morris, I don't know who it is, because this is a massive game for whatever sort of ammo that Chad Morris has left as someone who is considered by some as a really good offensive mind in this sport against his former team. This is a fascinating matchup because what Barry Odom did to that Mississippi State offense was impressive. And you look at Barry Odom and what he's been able to do well so far, not only against Mississippi State, but against Georgia. Guys have just been in position to make plays. I mean, they've got guys like Grant Morgan and Bumper Poole who are making 1 billion tackles, and they're just on the football constantly. And I think that we see that against an Auburn offense that really hasn't fooled a whole lot of people. I mean, they really have not been able to scheme receivers open. If you look at how much, offensively they put up in that first game against Kentucky, a lot of that at the end was really good field position and Seth Williams doing Seth Williams things with guys on him. So I tend to think that Arkansas is actually going to have a chance to hang around. I really believe that, but I worry about Felipe Franks making mistakes against that Auburn defense. And I think ultimately that's going to be the thing that's frustrating. Rakeem Boyd and Traylon Burks, their 2 best playmakers on offense, are a bit banged up, and you just can't necessarily bank on them having a big-time day, which is what I think they would need to be able to beat a team like Arkansas, or a team like Auburn, rather. So I think Auburn wins that game, but I don't necessarily think it's a banner day for the Chad Morris offense. I think they bounce back a little bit, but I don't think it's exactly a 40-point or a 50-point performance, which is probably what Chad Morris would want right about now.
Connor O'Gara, thanks for your time. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.
How about this, Hanny? He mentioned Bumper Poole and Grant Morgan. In 2 games, Bumper Poole has 31 tackles. Grant Morgan has 28 tackles. That's your 2 linebackers for Arkansas. In a John Chavis defense, they were having to catch the guards too much, right? They were uncovered. Yeah. They're catching the guards. They're trying to shed blocks. Well, that's not their skill set. They're a little bit limited in what they can do. But one thing they can do, they can find the ball and they can get the offensive player to the ground. And they've changed their philosophy on defense. I think Barry Odom is one of the most unheralded hires that we had in the SEC as a defensive coordinator at Arkansas. He's got that team believing, and their defense is so much more sound than it was under John Chavis. No surprise. I mean, I know who I'm talking to here, but I actually think Arkansas has a real opportunity at Auburn. I truly do. Auburn, to me, is so out of sync offensively right now because Gus Malzahn's at his best when he has a quarterback that can run a little bit, and he's got a workhorse at running back. He doesn't really have either one of those.
No, they can't run the football.
And Bo Nix is not accurate. He's just not.
Take a break. Be back on the other side. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not 1 but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motors you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
The king of clean.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Mike Anderson Seafood to recap both Monday Night Football games, preview Game 4 of the NBA Finals, and more. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank invite you to nominate someone for a Good Citizens Award. They could receive $500 from Citizens Bank, and we will recognize them live on air right here on Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Get all the details at citizensbankandtrust.com and nominate your good citizen.
Those of you in the Bayou Ford chat that are asking about the game, we did a long piece to open the show. If you want to go back and get it on demand, you could do that. Just the brief update is that no decision has been made yet. Everything is still on the table. If this game has to be moved, it is more likely to be moved to a neutral site than it is to be moved to Columbia, although nothing has been taken out of play yet. But a Houston or a Shreveport or a Dallas would all be in play if they have to move the game. They probably would have a plan in place by tomorrow night that they could announce Thursday morning if they do have to move the game. Hurricane Delta has been upgraded, is now a Category 4, and if you look at the you look at the forecast, Saturday is going to be pretty hairy here. So we don't have anything yet, but, probably. I mean, I'm willing to say that at this point. They're going to have to do something.
They're going to do something. Yeah, it'd be very hard to believe it's going to play it at the same time in the same place that it was originally scheduled.
Yeah, 8 o'clock Saturday night in Tiger Stadium doesn't seem real likely right now. So the venue probably going to change.
Which, if you have post-game duties like we both do, it's not the worst thing.
Well, I don't know the time's going to change. It could.
Good.
The TV's not going to hold their feet to the fire on that, is what I was told, if the travel accommodations don't fit with that, because they got to get home too.
Yeah, right.
They got to come back. So a lot remains to be seen. But we went through all the scenarios at the top of the show. If you want to go back and get that, YouTube Hanging with Hester and Hanny page. Hunt Palmer, when we come back, we're in a little long in the last segment. We'll turn around and be back. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richard Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Started making beer at home and immediately fell in love with it. After like the day of my first batch of brewing, I was already thinking, can I do this for a living?
Oh yeah, obsessed with it. He was totally consumed by it, and then looked at me one day and told me I was put on this earth to brew beer. And I was like, wow, that is such a bold statement. And if you can say that about anything, then you need to follow your dream and do it.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 2, hanging with Hester and Hanny, and Hunt, who is here and doesn't realize that I've already done him a favor. Hunt, how are you?
I'm just not that great. There's a lot of things going on that aren't great.
So I would like you to acknowledge that I did you a favor here. We have 7 different screens in here, 7 different video setups.
That's right.
And Hester wanted to put all 7 of them on the Braves, and I wouldn't let him do, because I said it's just being mean.
Who the Braves just want to play in? Who made it to the?
That would be the Marlins.
Oh, okay.
They're awful. You will beat them in 3 games in a row. They're atrocious.
All evidence to the contrary. They beat the Cubs,
who are also atrocious.
You know, that looks an awful lot like Minute Maid Park that the Braves and Marlins are playing in.
Surely is.
God, just doesn't
got a good brisket carving station in there.
What in the world? But
2020, bro.
Normally I wouldn't give you flag, but you did you enjoyed that y'all got the Marlins and the Braves had the Reds, and you told me about their starting staff, which it played out.
Yeah, it did
for the most part, but Braves are playing today. Cubs aren't.
The Cubs don't hit in the playoffs. I don't know how that's a thing. It's like it's the laziest possible argument that a baseball fan can make is, well, this team can't hit in the clutch. They're not good at clutch hitting. We can't. That's not a thing. You're either good at hitting or you're not. And if you're good at hitting, you'll probably get more hits when it matters than you won't. And the Cubs have objectively good baseball players who have had all-star seasons and MVP seasons. And when they play the Brewers in Game 163 or the Rockies in the wild card game or this
I'm going to
past
ask you
year,
to quit beating on the table, please.
They don't score any runs. They scored no runs. I don't understand how it's possible.
They really dodged one here, because if the Reds had played the Cubs, they might still be playing, because neither one of them would score.
We scored one once. They didn't score any.
That's one more than the Reds scored in the entire series.
We got one.
Braves have really good pitching.
They do.
They got a couple of guys.
It was one. They didn't score a run in, what was it, 22 innings? The Reds?
Yeah,
22 innings. That they couldn't. Hey, talk to us about football. LSU beat Vanderbilt. Put you in a better mood. You can't work. You can't sleep right now. You can't watch the Cubs. So
you're probably having some honeydews right now as well.
Oh yeah, I tried to pick up a glass tabletop, but it didn't fit in my car today, so that didn't work out. I paid for it and didn't get it.
Tell us about the football team then.
I sent out a tweet to Lane Kiffin. He engages a lot of people. I'm in. If Ole Miss wants to trade permanents, I've gotten two years in a row of playing Vanderbilt, even on the road, and it's fun. They are so bad. You have last year we couldn't stop a nosebleed. Just they score. We were awful on defense. This year had a kind of a silly turnover. Didn't play that great against run defense, and at no point are you ever in jeopardy of losing the game to Vanderbilt. That I enjoy. Florida games not quite as much. Look, they played better. Brennan looked much better. I really liked what I saw from Emory. You can see that there's no shortage of playmakers when you can go down to Ty Davis-Price and John Trey Kirkland, Jeray Jenkins, and you know what Gilbert can do, and Marshall's still playing great. And so that was encouraging. I thought Cam Wire had a really nice day against a veteran defensive front. And then on defense, you didn't have to go against very good offense, and you acquitted yourself nicely. It was exactly what they needed. It was a get-well weekend. This weekend will be too. And then you get into the meat of it. But it was a stress-free environment for me to watch the game, and I enjoyed that.
What stood out to you that you weren't expecting on Saturday? Because for me, it was John Emery kind of taking over. I didn't know Chris Curry was going to miss the game, and John Emery, really shined in 12 carries.
I've said since camp I wanted him to get the ball 15 to 19 times a game. I think he's the best running back they have, and I think that's their best option. I think Ty Davis Price is a really good player. I think Chris Curry runs really hard and has a spot, and I think that they'll all get carries. But if I had it my way, Emory would be the lead back. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say the feature back. I don't know if I'd put him out there as much as Clyde was out there last year, but he would be the guy that I went to more than the others. But I think the thing that was most encouraging to me, I don't know if surprising is the word I would use, but Miles just looked different. The ball came out early. The ball came out on time. And the one pick he threw, I'm fine with. He made the right read, stepped up. The ball came out on time, and it just sailed it, and that happens. I'd much rather that than ducking your head and holding on to it and kind of collapsing in the pocket or bailing early. I thought he looked composed and under control against a bad defense.
So in week 1, Miles actually held onto the ball longer than any other SEC quarterback. In week 2, he got the ball out of his hands faster than any SEC quarterback.
It was noticeable.
So that's real growth. And the defense doesn't really necessarily dictate that by their talent. Now the scheme could a little bit, the blitz, but his numbers actually go up when teams blitz him. His numbers are really nice when teams decide to bring pressure, but it was noticeable. It was, remember the theme, Hanny, it was a building block. I wanted to see that improvement. And not only did he improve, but he went from worst to first. So that was big. And I agree with you on the interception. Hey, sometimes you got to let it rip. Sometimes you might make a mistake, but you can't be afraid to make a mistake, because I felt like in week 1, that's really what held him back. It wasn't necessarily him not being prepared for some of the looks. I just felt like he did have some free releasers coming in his face, but also he was reluctant to make that mistake.
And to that point of having free releases in his face, they had one in the first quarter, and he spun out and flipped it over to Ty Davis Price, and he got 8 yards. I mean, it's not going to be a first-team All-American based on what you did against Vanderbilt, but it was better than it looked the first week.
There was a throw, it was about a 7-yard throw to Eric Gilbert that I thought was one of the best plays, and nobody's ever going to remember it unless you go back and you break it down. But he stepped up in the pocket when everything was collapsing around him. He stepped about 5 yards up in the pocket and then slid to his right to make sure he didn't go past the line of scrimmage, allowed Gilbert to come open, throws it on a 3rd down. It's about a 7-yard throw, pitch and catch. But you know what? He stood up exactly like he needed to. He moved up in the pocket. He even slid to his right, and then it allowed his receiver to get open for a big first down conversion. Those are things we didn't see in week 1.
Talking about Eric Gilbert for a second, and I realized that one of the things you have to tell yourself when you're watching the game on TV is they don't see the yellow line. So you can't play like they can see it as well.
Right.
But Eric's, we're not quite in high school anymore. When we catch it, let's not run backwards to try to get a 60-yard gain. Let's just get it and go up the field. He drove me nuts. Twice he caught it and looped back. Let's go forward.
In high school, Hanny, you can do that.
You sure can.
In the SEC, doesn't matter who you're playing. Actually, in college football, doesn't matter who you're playing. You can't do that.
You said it a number of times that the jump from high school to college was greater than the jump from college to the NFL.
It's not even really close for me.
Speed of the game.
Speed of the game is, in the NFL, you're playing the guys you played on Saturday. It's like, oh, yeah, I played against you 4 times when you were at Florida. Right. But when you make that jump from high school, not only are you spinning mentally, but physically as well. It's a completely different level. And in high school, as a running back, just my position, you could get away with missing a cut and finding a way to get back in there. If you don't take like the backside cut on a zone when it's there in the SEC, where you're going to get stuff behind the line of scrimmage because there's not going to be anything else available. Now, you'll see a one-off where a guy makes a hell of a run, he makes 4 guys miss, but more times than not, if you don't take what the defense gives you or vice versa, what the offense is telling you can do, and you dictate what's going on, then you're going to be in trouble.
Now, Missouri, wherever the game ends up being played, what's the next step?
It's more of what you saw last week because Missouri is at a massive talent disadvantage. They're breaking in a new coach. Their offense is not very good. Tennessee, wiped the floor with them, and so did Alabama. It's not a game that LSU should be in any danger of losing, but you got to go out there and execute the way you did and clean some things up that weren't perfect. I think they've got to get better on the run defense. Vanderbilt was able to get some things going on the ground. I think Glenn Logan is going to help a little bit with that, but your linebackers have got to play a little bit better too. And continue to have Miles progress because in order for LSU to win games in this league against the really good teams, you're going to have to go score. Your defense is not going to hold Alabama down. Your defense is not going to put the clamps on Florida. You're going to have to go score. So offensively, the offensive line's got to continue to play, and Miles has got to continue to progress and get those playmakers involved.
Missouri's best offensive weapon is the running back Larry Roundtree. He had a disappointing junior year, but had a really good sophomore season. he is, without doubt, in my opinion, watching the tape and knowing the league, he's their best offensive tool. So if you see Vanderbilt has some success running the football, 183 yards total before you take away the sack numbers, that's going to be what they try to do coming into Baton Rouge, especially if you have a weather situation. The game's played here, if it's raining or if you have a wet field, they're going to try to run the football because Larry Roundtree is their best player offensively. So that's something that LSU has to shore up. They made adjustments in the second half to stop Vanderbilt from running the football, but the game wasn't in question, so how much of it had to do with that as well? Vanderbilt started to throw the football a little bit more. That's something that definitely showed in week 2 that we didn't get an opportunity to see in week 1 because, well, Mississippi State didn't run the football. They just threw it to Colin Hill, and he continued to make plays.
I think the defensive front, for me, has been very disruptive in the opposing pass game. It has not been as disruptive in the run game. I mean, you've seen Gay off the edge a ton. I really liked the red zone play in the second half sequence that Vanderbilt had where Ojulari makes a big play in the backfield, and the next play they get pressure in Seals' face, and he throws the pick to Harris. I feel like in the pass game they've been pretty disruptive. They've got to do a little bit better job in the run game.
Take a break. When we come back, we'll do first class, second class, and no class. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
You know, if you're making any property improvements, home improvements here during this fall, you're going to have to be digging something. Whether you put in a fence or some landscaping, a tree, a pool, maybe another building on your property somewhere. If you've got to dig, you've got to call 811. Don't be the guy that hits the gas line and causes a little minor explosion. Don't be the guy that hits a water line and floods your neighbor's backyard. Don't knock the power out. We're going to have enough problems here coming up. So listen, call 811. Do it 2 days before you dig. Somebody will come out and mark all the locations of the buried lines on your property, and you won't be that guy.
If for some reason you're at your office right now, you can't make that call, well, you can go to Louisiana811.com. You can find all the information there. You can submit that ticket right there. You can actually search for your ticket submission on the website as well. But we would encourage you, either way you do it, if it's online, if it's picking up the phone, make sure you do it. It's the law. It's easy. They're going to take all the hard parts out of it, right? They're going to come mark those lines exactly where you can dig. Call 811 before you dig.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Coming up on Wednesdays Off the Bench, we close the book on the football week that was, and we give birth to a new one. As we look forward to the best matchups of Week 5 in the NFL and Week 3 in the SEC. Plus, Booger McFarland stops by. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, no class, brought to you by Relief Telemed. Relief is for businesses that have frequent interactions with the public, like restaurants, retail stores, service-based businesses that can't afford to shut down or send home employees. Relief's COVID mitigation platform takes the hassle, chaos, and stress out of having your employees tested for COVID. The process starts with a video visit with a physician and ends with a custom action plan for every employee. And through a dashboard, you know exactly when your employees can come back to work. They offer on-site and off-site testing options, and it worked for you, Jacob Hester.
You're exactly right. They helped us get back to business. In fact, we didn't miss a day up in Shreveport at our walk-ons because of Relief Telemed. Look, when LSU wanted to find the best option, they went with Relief Telemed. When LSU Alexandria wanted to go with the best option, they went with Relief Telemed. The Santa Ana School District way out in California, they go with Relief Telemed, right? Thousands of students there. So it's not only here in Louisiana, no matter where you're at, they can absolutely help you out and not make your business, your school, your team miss any time.
All right, Hunt, we'll let you lead off.
All right, I think when this NBA playoff season is all said and done, the story will probably be the fact that they played it in Florida in front of no one, and LeBron James won another title. That's very likely going to be the end of the storyline. But I think if you look a little bit deeper and you look at it immediately in the rearview mirror, sure, LeBron James has been great, and you could look at Donovan Mitchell's performances, and of course Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Jimmy Butler, a lot of guys, but I'll name some other guys here who have been unbelievable in the playoffs, and they all have something very obvious in common. Anthony Davis has been fantastic and may win his first title and hit a huge buzzer beater for the Lakers. Look at what Tyler Hero has done to just burst onto the scene. Jamal Murray is now one of the elite scorers in all of the NBA.
Is your first class going to really be Kentucky basketball?
It's Kentucky basketball and John Calipari, and I do it just to give a backhanded compliment to Cal. It says, you've always got the best players, you just never win anything.
I'm going to let that go. Just right there at the end, you saved yourself a little bit. But I have no strong feelings about Kentucky. That's football, though.
No. But I didn't hear anything about football.
That's football.
Do you have any strong feelings about Ronald Acuna?
Oh, he did it. I called it on SEC show this morning. Hoot! Leadoff home run.
Make an easy first class.
How about that?
When the Saints fell behind 14-0 on Sunday to the Detroit Lions, it was sort of a pivotal point in not just the game but the season. They had to come back and put together a drive. They did put together what I thought might have been a season-saving drive to turn the momentum around and win the game. But how they won the game might be a little bit of a surprise. They mostly did it running the football. They were able to control the clock. They were able to use both Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray in that 1-2 punch that really kept Detroit's offense off the field. And we know that Stafford can sling it. The less he had opportunities against the New Orleans Saints team that was down both starting cornerbacks, the better off they were. It also helped out Drew Brees a lot. He had a strong game for the Saints. When Sean Payton is calling plays in balance, there's nobody that's any better that's still calling plays in the National Football League. He gets himself in a little bit of trouble sometimes when he gets out of balance. The Saints balance at its absolute best with 39 carries, over 4 yards per carry, and right at 4.5 yards per carry for both of the lead backs. The Saints running game gets my first class this week.
Okay, I like that one. My first class for this week is Austin Nola. We know about Aaron Nola. We know how dominant of a player he is. And Austin Nola's journey kind of got lost in the shuffle just a little bit, right? And we know him from his great career at LSU, what he could do playing shortstop. Well, he is now playing catcher for the San Diego Padres. And as most of you know, he had a roundabout way to get to the big leagues. He's 30 years old, and he is finally now an everyday major leaguer. He had 2 RBIs in the series. I believe one of them, if I'm not mistaken, tied one of the games. It was a big at-bat. He gets one of the RBIs there against the Cardinals. But regardless, he had 2 RBIs in the postseason there, 2 runs scored in the first Padres series win in a very, very long time. They're still in the postseason. I love his story. I love that he's like, you know what? I don't care. I will play wherever you want me to play. I'll play for the Zephyrs for however long and try to prove to you I can play this position. I'll play in the minor leagues. Just give me my opportunity in the big leagues. He has gotten that. The Padres actually, as y'all know, traded for him in the postseason run. It's just so good to see a guy that we know have this much success and really have to go a different route than a lot of people go to get there, Hanny.
Very good.
Second class, I think most people listening to this show driving around do not know the name Trey Lance. You will here in a few months, and you may if you were paying attention the last week or so, or you really dive into football from last year. Trey Lance is the quarterback at North Dakota State. And North Dakota State's football season essentially got canceled. So they went and scheduled one game with your boys over at Central Arkansas so that Trey Lance could play. And he didn't light it up. He went 15 of 30. He threw for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. He threw a pick. He also ran it 15 times for 143 yards and 2 more touchdowns. Trey Lance is going to be a very high pick in next year's draft. I think the combine's going to matter a lot. They were able to get him on film for one game, and somebody that's looking for a quarterback is going to take Trey Lance in the first at least 50 picks in the draft, if not much, much higher. And it wasn't great on Sunday. It was pretty good. He's got a chance to be great come the NFL draft, and I think it's great that he got a chance to play, and I'm sure that it's not what everybody wanted, and I'm sure his teammates maybe didn't always want to get up out of bed to go to practice to play one game, but it's what they did, and I think it was a good thing.
The latest from Mel Kiper, he actually updated his quarterback rankings this week, and I think he did it a lot because this was the Trey Lance week. He's got him as the number 3 quarterback behind Lawrence and Fields. He thinks he's going to be a top 10 pick.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know who's got number 4?
Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask, very good. And another guy, and so top 5 quarterbacks could all potentially go in the first round. The 5th guy is Zach Wilson at BYU, who's off to a terrific start.
I know the competition's not the same, but he looked really good the other
He's got
night.
some tools.
He does.
He's good looking prospect. My second class goes to the Tennessee Volunteers. Now you've put together a really nice run here. This is 8 wins. Okay, this is 2 against South Carolina, 2 against Missouri, UAB, Kentucky, Vandy, Indiana. You've done some solid work here, Joel. You got to put up some respectable numbers, but it's not quite enough to get you into an Ivy League school. Okay, well, here's Tennessee's opportunity. Are you in the South Carolina, Kentucky tier, or are you in the Georgia, Florida tier?
Wait a minute. South Carolina's lost 7 of the last 8 games. Don't hate on my Wildcats like that.
Well, South Carolina and Tennessee played a pretty competitive game 2 weeks ago. Are they ready to step up in class? I don't think so. I think Georgia handles them on Saturday, but I'm not 100% sure. Pruitt's got them going in the right direction. We'll see how much real progress they have made when they go to Athens this Saturday. So they've been good. They can only play the teams they put in front of them. That 8-game win streak is nice. Let's see if they can be great.
You go to the SEC East. I go to the SEC West. Arkansas gets my second class. This is the team that lost to North Texas. Let me rephrase that. Got housed by North Texas, San Jose State, and Western Kentucky. Let me remind you that Central Arkansas, our adopted team, beat Western Kentucky in the same year that Arkansas lost to them by 3 touchdowns. So the FCS team in your state beat the team that beat you by 3 touchdowns. It was rock bottom for Chad Morris. That's the reason why he's the coordinator now at Auburn and not at Arkansas. And Sam Pittman, right? Oh, it's a goofy hire. And I think we've all questioned it, right? Never been a head coach before. What are they doing? Well, I talked to him last week, and he was confident about his game plan against Mississippi State. Almost, I was asking Doring, I was like, is he too loose? Well, he had a reason to be that loose. And they go out there, and they beat the team that just beat the defending national champs to get their first SEC win in 20 games. It looks different. Now, Chad Morris recruited some talented guys there, and he deserves some of the credit, but he's not there any longer. And now, Felipe Franks is their quarterback, never going to be a world beater, but they look so much better. Even in a half against Georgia, that is a big stride from who they were. I think they have a real opportunity to give Auburn all they want this weekend on the road. So, Arkansas Razorbacks, you get my second class.
Hunt?
I'll give them second class. I don't know if good with a chance to be great qualifies.
Good with a chance to be better?
Good with a chance to be better than winless.
If you get beat by North Texas, San Jose State, and Western Kentucky.
Then Saturday was great.
Thank you, yes.
No class. They expanded the Major League Baseball playoffs to 8 teams per league this year. And the National League Central got 4 teams in. That's pretty good. 4 out of 5 in the playoffs. They all played an elimination game last weekend. The Cardinals scored 0 runs. The Cubs scored 0 runs. The Reds scored 0 runs. And the Brewers scored 0 runs. 4 elimination games. No one scored. You all stink. No class.
The whole Central, by the way, stinks. It's all East and West.
36,
no runs.
36 innings of scoreless baseball. That is bad.
Not great.
No.
I really enjoyed telling the other teams they stink. Now, I got some. We got to have a closed door meeting with the boys on the north side. But
my no class goes to Mike Woods. Who is Mike Woods? Well, if you were watching the end of Arkansas and Mississippi State, Arkansas had the ball, 7-point lead, and the ability with the amount of timeouts that Mississippi State had left to kneel the clock out, which is what they were trying to do. They kneel the ball on first down. They kneel the ball on second down. They needed to kneel it out 2 more times to extinguish the clock. And on the third kneel down, Mike Woods, on a kneel down, comes from out of nowhere and gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for fighting. What the bleepity bleep are you doing? This stops the clock. We ain't won a game around here in 3 years, Hoss, and you decided this is the time that you want to get into a fight? Now we got a punt. A miracle could happen. Devery Henderson could come streaking out of the stands and go for a touchdown. We ain't won a game in 3 years, and this is what you decide to do at this point? I was so sure that Mississippi State was going to win the game at that point. I'm like, this is just karma, just run amok. Mike Woods got bailed out because Mississippi State didn't do anything with the football. But the mere fact that they got it back at all and were able to run 4 plays, I think it was, at the end of the game. 5 plays at the end of the game. Man, you better be glad that they ended up winning that game. No class, man. You can't do that.
My no class goes to something we've already mentioned this week on the show, and that is the Los Angeles Chargers. You are up 24-7 on the road against Tom Brady as the Marlins hit a moonshot that hasn't landed yet. You're on the road against Tom Brady, and you are up 17 points. All you have to do is take a knee. Just nail out the clock. Go into halftime. I understand they get the ball coming out of half, but you are up 17 points. What do? Well, you give a zone read at a shotgun to your backup running back. The ball never really gets to him, and Ndamukong Suh knocks it out. They get the ball right there on the goal, and they score in 2 plays. Now it's a 10-point lead. What do they do when they get the ball coming out of halftime? Well, they go down Hanny, and they score. Now your 17-point lead is a 3-point lead before you ever touch the ball again, and oh yeah, you blow a 24-7 lead at the end of the day, and you lose the game by 7 points. Don't overthink yourself. You're the Chargers for a reason. You're the Bush League Bulch for a reason. You do not have the option to go try to score against Tom Brady when you're up 17 points. Just take the damn knee, go into halftime, and be glad you're up 17, Chargers.
I thought about you when I saw that play. I'm like,
my God.
the fact that you played for him and call him the Bush League Bolts cracks me.
So I put the Cubs in no class, and he put the Chargers in no class. What a week.
We'll take a break. Be back with more Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air is an independent dealer of the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning System. Time to get those units checked as we head into the latter part of the year. Of course, you always want the American Standard because it's going to save you money year-round. I know. I've got one in my home, and the first bill that we got, we immediately started to see savings. It's because of the efficiency of the unit and the programmable thermostat that makes your life easy. You'll never be wasting energy. And that means lower bills at the end of the month, and everybody can get on board with that.
Hanny, we got the fire pit all set up. It's not there yet, but it's getting time, right? So that air condition is going to go off. That heater is going to come on here coming up very soon. Make sure that you are getting that seasonal maintenance that you need. You can give Tiger Air a call at 225-754-8687. You can always check them out at tiger-air.com. You always hear me talk about the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan. It is something that you need to make sure that your units are working exactly how they need to be working.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Rowan Davey talking Tigers, Larry Holder talking Saints, and UFC legend, the Iceman, Chuck Liddell joins us. Join us as well, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hunt Palmer's going to tell you what he didn't bring us for lunch.
Yep.
I was about to say, hey, Hanny,
As
you know
is
what Hunt
tradition.
didn't do?
Yeah.
No lunch for y'all. Hungry Howie's, right there on Nicholson, just south of LSU's campus at Lee. Tell you about the pizza every single week. You can get the 3 medium 1-topping pizzas for just $5 a pizza, $15 total. Or if you carry out a large, you can get a 2-topping for just $7.99. They've also got great wings. They've got a lot of different flavors. You can get the original lightly seasoned wings. You can get the barbecue wings with that sweet barbecue sauce, the buffalo wings with some spicy buffalo sauce, Asian wings, tangy Asian-inspired spices, and then you want some real spicy, the Sriracha Howie wings with the spicy Sriracha sauce. You can get any of those boneless as well, if that's your thing. So make Hungry Howie's part of your dinner plans tonight. Make it part of your football watching plans this weekend. Hungry Howie's, home of that flavored crust pizza.
Hungry Howie's.
Good job,
That was
Jacob.
really good.
You're amazing.
I was so good. I was ready. Even though you didn't bring us anything, I was ready.
Did you hear Lane Kiffin yesterday? This is just the bonus that you get when you get Lane Kiffin.
Did you hear
back
Mike Leach yesterday? We can get to that.
I missed. Well, we can do
play the lane then. We'll talk about what Leach said.
Well, basically, I'll just paraphrase it for you. He lauded Nick Saban for being able to keep all the players in school through COVID. Players opting out everywhere else. They do a great job of keeping them at Alabama and doing a great. He trolls Saban so consistently, and he's the only one that does it. He's been through the wars with him, but this is that little needling that
I'm not sure I understand how. I mean, I could go. There's a laundry list of these guys that not would have been drafted, would have been top 45 picks that have stayed, whether it's Tim Williams, C.J. Mosley on this team, Najee Harris, or Devonta Smith. I mean, maybe Dylan Moses if he decides to come out, maybe not. But they just it seems like it's year after year after year. Guys come back when they just don't need to.
Hester, this is your corner of the store. I mean, you for players, you played with guys that came out early. You played with guys that stayed for their last year. I mean, you've seen both sides of it. You know what the pressure is. You know what the money is. How they doing it?
I don't know, because when Nick was with us at LSU, he was a big believer in, hey, if you're a first-round pick, if you have a first-round grade, I am never going to try to talk you into coming back. And that's what he preached, and he kind of practiced it. I mean, Marcus Spears, Corey Webster, those guys came back for their senior years. Now, they'd have been right on the edge of it if they would have come out. But, look, if you're a first-round pick, he's going to tell you, hey, go ahead and go. Go ahead and go. This is life-changing money, all those type of things. But I don't know if that's changed because, like Hunt said, you've got guys that would of that group, there would have been probably 2 first-rounders of that group. Just I don't know which ones, but there probably would have been.
Devonta Smith, C.J. Mosley.
Smith would have been a first-round pick.
I think Dylan Moses would have had a real opportunity because he's gotten a lot of hype.
Moses was coming off the injury. That's a little bit of a special case. But the other ones, for sure. Najee Harris probably would have been somewhere in the area that Josh Jacobs did.
But here's the flip side of it, though. Other schools, including LSU, for the last couple of years, they've lost guys that have either not been drafted or drafted in the later 5th, 6th, 7th round. Now, every circumstance is a little bit different, but the way that they're able to keep their draftable guys, there's something they're doing out there, and I don't know the rhyme or reason, because when I was with Saban, it was if you're a first round guy, go, but if you're not, then come back. That was the standard.
I wasn't even going on that angle. I like the fact that Kiffin just messes with him.
He does.
That he trolls him. Feinbaum said he says, mark this down. He said Kiffin will be the first former Saban assistant to beat him, and he might be right. You know, they'll catch, and probably not. They're not this year, but they'll catch him one year. They'll pull something like what Hugh Freeze did. They'll come in and they'll catch him on one of those screwy nights. They'll get a couple of turnovers and make a couple of flukish style touchdowns, and they'll pull an upset.
But this kind of tells you this Coach Saban coaching tree. Jimbo Fisher, and we all know assistants never beat him. So Jimbo Fisher last week, this week Lane Kiffin, next week Kirby Smart, the next week Jeremy Pruitt. So that many weeks in a row, he's facing a former assistant coach of his.
And he's going to win them all. Listen, I think Ole Miss will put some points up this weekend. A&M moved the ball a little bit. I think Ole Miss will move the ball a little bit. I think they'll score. But who's Alabama's punter? He can stay home. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to worry about punting this weekend. I mean, forget it. He didn't even have to. He didn't have to go to the game.
Well, they played Texas A&M. Texas A&M was never going to compete in that game. There was two different talent levels. They're not even in the same neighborhood. They're not related. They don't go to the same grocery stores as Alabama. They're not even remotely close to what Alabama is. That was embarrassing.
You want me to tell you what my hour and 45 minutes on TexAgs on Saturday night yielded?
About it.
Okay. Here's some of the things I heard.
Hour and 45 minutes?
Well, first of all, they have a post-game video on there that I always watch when they lose, and it's usually about 20 minutes. I clicked it. It was an hour and 10 minutes this week. Was it
Lucci who was doing it?
Lucci was on it. Lucci, then Leone, then Ryan Swope was on it, and Gabe Bach. But it was an hour and 10 minutes. And they're already determined that it was – they already knew going into the season that the next quarterback after Kellen Mond would be the one that would get A&M into the conference championship game, into the playoffs. Said that they're ready to start seeing the backup quarterback now. That essentially the fan base has not quite gotten to Jimbo yet. That's where I want them to get to dig their teeth into Jimbo. It's now Mond's fault that they're not good.
They want to give up on this season's a wash. They know they don't have the goods, so anything with Mond is sort of a waste of time.
And this freshman came in and ran the ball a little bit, and they thought that was great.
They know that they can't get into Jimbo as long as that contract's in place at its current level. Now, when you get a little bit deeper into it, they probably will. Saban's going to win all of those games. There's not a quarterback on the other side that can really challenge him. When most of the time when he's gotten beat, it's been because it was a great quarterback on the other side. It was a Joe Burrow. It was a Cam Newton. It was a Deshaun Watson. It was
Machine Gun Kelly.
Well, that's probably the exception.
No, but
Machine Gun Kelly,
I've done this.
Though. I mean, we're kind of joking.
I've done segments on this. Go look at the statistics from that day. Is Nick Marshall the greatest quarterback who ever played? No, but if you go look at his day that day, it was great.
Stephen Garcia,
same deal.
His career day. It takes that, and I don't see that out of all the love he's getting right now. Wonderful, but I still don't think that Stetson Bennett IV can go do that to Alabama. So he's probably going to win all four of those games. But give me to the Mike Leach part, because I must have missed this.
Oh, Mike Leach was talking about, and this is after a loss to Arkansas, he was talking about how the air raid offense got his name, and all the offenses back then used to get names, the West Coast, the running gun, and all the different offenses. He's like, and so when he was whatever small college, Indiana Wesleyan or Iowa Wesleyan or wherever, Iowa Wesleyan was where he was at, how they came with the air raid, because every time they would score, a guy would play an air raid horn or whatever. And he's like, what an air raid sounds like. He gets his phone out. He pulls up an air raid horn sound and puts it up to the microphone. It's like this, and keeps turning his phone up the day after a loss. He is playing his phone of how an air raid sounds.
That's genius. You do that, they can't ask any questions about losing Arkansas.
And then he goes into all the history of that little small school and how there was a bunker that was built there and how there was a former Dodger who used to have a dorm room there.
This is called a filibuster, okay? You just talk until everybody else forgets what they were there to talk about.
And
happens in Congress every day.
Congress isn't college football coaching, but he's the only person that can get away with it. If Ed Orgeron went up and did that.
He said one thing of substance, said, look, I'd have been out of business years and years and years ago if somebody found out you could just drop 8 on every play and we'd never score again. Which, that's kind of that was the narrative after the Arkansas game.
It forces you to make plays. It forces you to be perfect. You put these drives together because you think that if they've got to execute this thing 8 to 12 times instead of 3 to 5 times, that somewhere there'll be a drop. Somewhere the quarterback will make a bad throw. There'll be a holding penalty. Something will trip you up if you have to do it 8 to 12 times. You do it 2 to 3 times and you bust a big play, well, then that's when you get yourself in trouble. But no, that's genius. That's genius. Next week it'll be, I don't know, place setting patterns or something.
He is the only person that could get away with that in the Southeastern Conference. God bless him for it, by the way. Yeah. It was like 2.5 minutes of just him talking about that and not talking about losing to Arkansas.
It's brilliant. Take a break, come back on the other side. Chris Doering with us in hour number 3 at about 2:15, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
GoTro's Outdoor Power and our friends over at Skag, making it easier than ever for you to own the top zero-turn mower on the market. Whether it's residential or commercial, the Skags are absolutely the best ride and the best value. Right now, you can get into a new Skag with 60 months interest-free financing. And if you're a first responder, there's Simply the Brave program. We'll give you 15% off of MSRP. Plus, you're going to get free delivery. And with the largest parts inventory anywhere in the South, you're never going to have to worry about service after the sale.
Airline at Industrialplex in Baton Rouge. Airline at 74 in Gonzales. You got 2 showrooms to go check out that Skag power equipment. But like Hanny mentioned, you do have that free delivery option. So if you're listening to us up in North Louisiana or watching us across the state of Louisiana on CST, don't worry, they can get that Skag to you, and it is free delivery within the state of Louisiana. GoTrosOutdoorPower.com is the website to go check it out. That's GoTros. We make it easy.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
You know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Mike Anderson Seafood to recap both Monday Night Football games, preview Game 4 of the NBA Finals, and more. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Are you warm and fuzzy now?
I am now, man.
That's a great sweatshirt.
They got it cranking in here today. Had Had to go to the closet, man. I've got a whole wardrobe up here for changing weather patterns.
I'm about to go hoodie mellow for this segment. I mean, it is.
You want to buy? I got like 3 sweatshirts in there.
I got one in the car. That's a long way away.
It's a blanket or something like that.
It's not great right now for the Braves. First and third, nobody out for the Marlins.
What do you think about the rest of the playoffs?
The Dodgers are better than everyone. We'll see. The Yankees are hitting, and they're getting healthy. But I just think the Dodgers' rotation's better than the Yankees, and I think they're just better. Now, they've been the best team probably, at least multiple times in the last 5 years, and they haven't won one yet. So there's no guarantees. But they're the best team.
Yeah, pretty significant favorite.
I didn't know Kershaw still had this in the tank. I thought his back was shot and that he was toast.
When people aren't beating on garbage cans to let them know what's coming, he's a lot better.
Well, that wouldn't put him on the injured list.
No, it didn't put him on the injured list. But I mean, that game where the Astros didn't swing and miss at one breaking ball. I mean, we're talking about one of the elite sliders of our time here, and they don't swing at a single one of them. Over, what was it, 57 pitches or something like that? Yeah, it makes it a little bit tough to pitch, I would say. Astros and the A's at 3:30. And then Padres, Dodgers, Yankees, Rays a little bit later on tonight. To move ahead with Southeastern Conference play, what game's got your attention? Is it Georgia and Tennessee? Is it Ole Miss and Alabama? Is it A&M and Florida? Conor O'Gara thinks that A&M's got a shot.
For me, it's A&M Florida, but my intentions and my
feelings have already been known. Is it just because you want Florida to put 50 points on the board?
I do. I want them to put 50 on them. I want the program to quit. I want the program to lose faith in the head man. I want the fan base to lose faith in the head man. I want recruiting to suffer, and I want them to go away.
Tell us how you feel, though.
That's how I feel.
Can I ask you a question seriously?
Mm-hmm.
What does that accomplish for LSU?
I don't think a strong A&M helps LSU at all, especially
they're not strong.
Exactly, but I don't want them to get strong.
Well, then leave them with the current coach. They ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, okay.
They fire him. They might actually fall backwards into somebody good. I mean, why would
So we're now thinking that Jimbo's probably just not going to do very much there?
See, my hatred of Alabama is very centric to a cause, okay? As long as they're that good, it's going to be really hard. I mean, if they are going to cheat that effectively, it's very hard to get where you want to go. I mean, you got to have Joe Burrow come, down and have a year like he had and Clyde had and all those guys had last year. I want Saban to retire and go away. I remember when Alabama wasn't good in the 2000s. I remember LSU beat them 5 times in a row, and they were going through coaches like, every third year. You went from DeBose to Frog to Price for 15 minutes before you got caught in the strip club. To Shula. I want that Alabama back.
Me too.
Because when they have a really good coach, they're hell to deal with, okay? And they got the best guy in the A&M don't bother me.
Okay, I understand your point, but I understand Hunt's as well. Doing SEC as a whole and covering all 14 teams, the Aggie fans are a lot. They're a lot.
They're easily dismissed, though, guys. I mean, what's your line? The last time they won a championship, who was in the White House? Calvin Coolidge?
Yeah, Charlie, I don't hate beating them 50-7 last year. I don't hate winning 8 out of 9 or whatever. It's like, that's fine. I don't want them to get to a point where they're a problem.
Well, then just let them be.
I'm going to beat them into submission.
Quite capable
Whack-a-mole.
Quite capable of self-imploding. No.
I'm with you.
You have to be really good, okay, to summon up that level of dislike for me. Okay, because Alabama, for all of the fake championships they count, they got plenty of ones that are legit. Okay,
when it comes to be good for me to hate you. I hate the Philadelphia Phillies, and for a lot of reasons. John Kruk, Darren Dalton, Lenny Dykstra, Mitch Williams. I mean, a lot of
those
reasons.
teams were good.
They were good.
Well, they didn't win anything.
The Philly, they went to the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, going to the World Series means nothing to me. You got to win. You know how I'm a believer in trophies.
Well, they
hoist one.
They won it in 2008, I believe.
Well. That's a long time ago.
I don't understand why A&M gets under you guys' skin so much.
It's social media.
Well, you're doing that to yourself, man.
I don't disagree, but it's part of my life. I didn't say it was perfectly rational train of thought, but I still want them to fail.
And I completely understand what you're saying about Alabama, but for me, we dominated them when I played, and so although I understand it and it affects what LSU's doing now, I completely agree. like y'all know, like Florida's that team for me because when I was playing, that's who got under my skin because they were really good. Now, we were fortunate to beat them 3 out of 4 times, but it was like they won in 06, we won in 07, they won in 08.
Okay.
So for me, that's why. So I understand what you're saying.
Let me explain mathematics to you, Mr. Hester. And I'm
a math minor. Go ahead, pal.
I greatly appreciate what you guys did with that win streak against Alabama while you were in school. You played football for LSU for 4 years. Okay, the program's been in existence for 120. Okay, the other 116 years they've been a pain in the ass. All right, so I would like that to quit. If you had played for 116 and 4 years you didn't play, then that would be different. Okay, so I appreciate what you guys did. It was wonderful. I went to those games. I enjoyed them. I was like Hunt Palmer on the 50-yard line. It was wonderful. Okay, but that time has passed. I need this coach to go somewhere else so they can screw up the next one.
I got plenty of room in my heart to hate A&M and hate Alabama.
By the way, the Braves are down 3-1, in case y'all want to.
Say, since Bear Bryant passed away, all right, they have missed on way more coaches than they have hit on.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that
Well, he's not going anywhere for a couple years, so.
If it's only a couple, can we start the countdown?
Yeah, I'll start the countdown. Look, trust me, I'm throwing a party when he quits. Because the next guy that shows up there is getting fired.
What if he quit on New Year's Eve this year?
Oh.
What if Saban announced his retirement on New Year's Eve this year?
I wouldn't even waste
Saban
time.
retiring in 2020 coming to an end would officially be the biggest party in the history of the world, at least in Baton Rouge.
I wouldn't even waste time putting the scotch in a glass. I'd just drink it out of the bottle.
Something to hope for. Miami 3, Atlanta 1, top of the third inning. Hunt.
See y'all Thursday, I guess.
Good Lord willing. Hang in there. Chris Doring with us in hour number 3, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
This is it, what smart customers wait for all year. The Richards Honda Trade-In, Trade-Up event. Right now, get more money for your trade and a great price on something new. That's a win-win. Only at richardshonda.com. The smart choice.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
Hand Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Game 1 of the NLDS. Garrett Cooper's 2-run double. Brian Anderson has singled in a run. The Marlins now leading the Braves 4-1 in the top of the third inning. Padres ace Mike Clevenger will return from an arm injury and start Game 1 of the NLDS against the Dodgers tonight. NBA Finals resume tonight. Game 4 for the Lakers and Heat. If Miami's going to tie the series up at 2 games apiece, it needs to play like it did on Sunday, believes our Jay Williams.
Their energy level has to be exponentially greater on both offense and defense than the Lakers. And it has to be sustained throughout the course of the game. That's what you saw them do last game. Defensively, they need to give different looks, keep AD off his game.
Jay of Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. Game 4, 8 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, 9 Eastern on ABC. Patriots quarterback Cam Newton has remained asymptomatic despite a positive coronavirus diagnosis. He could be cleared to return to practice by Thursday. Buccaneers tight end O.J. Howard on IR with a ruptured Achilles tendon. His season's over. The Dolphins staying with Ryan Fitzpatrick as their starting quarterback. He gets the call Sunday against the 49ers.
Coming up on Wednesday, a huge weekend of college football, headlined by number 7 Miami and top-ranked Clemson. Hurricanes coach Manny Diaz joins us on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Wednesday, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger. Up in Shreveport. And, of course, with our friends on CST and YouTube, Hanging with Hester and Hanny page. Cade Wozniak, our audio producer, Paul O'Neill, our video producer. And for those of you that were worried about Playboy Marty, he has made it here, and he had to fix a flat tire today. So he did on the hustle, drove up with a donut on the chariot. And
I'm just glad he knows how to change his own tire, because there's people in this building that don't know how to do that.
Anybody I know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know pretty much everybody in the building,
Yep.
so
Yep.
there's less people in the building than there used to be.
That's true.
You know, we got more people working from home now.
Did you change your oil in your first couple of cars? I did in my first car.
Yeah.
It was an 88 Chevy Silverado. Before they had the skid plates and all that, it was a lot easier to change your oil. It's just something you did. You saved money. You changed your own oil.
We did, and you would drive it. You would drive it over the ditch, right? So you could get under it. I mean,
Right.
that's what we did. And
oh, you're such a redneck. I love it. Right there with me.
I swapped out a water pump on my first car. It was a Mercury. Swapped out the
Alan Jackson, crazy about a Mercury, huh?
An experienced mechanic would be able to swap out a water pump in 1986. Be able to swap out a water pump probably in about an hour, maybe a little bit more because it's under everything.
Yeah.
Took me a day and a half.
Took me 36 hours.
Took me a day and a half, and I put everything back together, and the car ran. It was everything. The water pump was about $30 in 1986, and the labor on it back then was about $100. Everything else. I was 15 years old. Okay, you could drive at 15 back then.
Yeah,
but that was like
I got a hardship when I was 15. Yeah.
No, there was no hardship. That was the driving age. So I'm 15 years old. And my dad said, "Okay, it's smoking. You gotta swap out the water pump." I said, well, how much is that? It was probably about $100. Okay, well, you could do it yourself, and it's only 30. And so I did. And after I got it all done, he pointed me in the right direction. He said, "So what have you learned here?" I said, "I want to get a good enough job to where I can take this damn thing to the mechanic, and I don't have to spend a day and a half because I'm not good at this." Okay?
Right. Well, in 1986, a lot more difficult now. Well, cars are more difficult to work on now, but now you know what you could do? You can Google everything.
Right. You can go
There's
watch
so many things. You can watch a YouTube video,
sure.
and you know exactly how to do it. Like if there's something around my house, changing a chandelier, a fan, a toilet, anything like that, no, I'm doing it. I'm saving that money.
I learned that I was not a good mechanic, and I haven't gotten I haven't gotten any better with age.
Got it done though.
I did.
You didn't quit.
I did.
Daddy didn't raise no punk.
Want to talk some sports? I wanted to ask you what
you kind of having fun right there. That was like a flustering kind of moment. It was 4 minutes of flustering.
Was a little bit. You'd like my dad, okay? Because he's the ultimate handyman. He did everything. He doesn't hire anything out. Built the house himself. The whole deal. My brother's like that. I'm not. I wanted to ask you about Justin Herbert and what you thought now that he was pressed into duty. They didn't want to play him, pressed into duty, and now I know they didn't win the game on Sunday, but looked to me like a guy that's going to be starting in the NFL for a long time.
I think you're exactly right. And obviously, we don't have a ton of tape, and defenses don't have a ton of tape, and they're going to adjust to him. But based off what we've seen now, I was dead wrong on draft night. I wasn't very happy with the selection. I thought him playing at Oregon, I didn't know if he played the top competition and all those things. And the word that I got from some NFL scouts that I know were they were worried about his personality. They didn't know if he was enough of an alpha to be able to get a locker room to follow him, because as we know in the NFL, that's what you have to have from that position. You've got to be the alpha over the team. You're the voice of the team, and they thought that was missing. And, okay, well, it's yet to be seen, but his team looks like they're following him right now. He's got 931 passing yards in 3 games. And down the field, he is pushing the ball, and he's putting it right in the receiver's hands. That was the most impressive thing on Sunday with pressure around him. I mean, he's throwing the ball down the field, pushing it 60 yards in the air. So I don't think that Tyrod Taylor is getting that job back. And I know that Anthony Lynn came out and said that, but if he does that, that's the wrong move. Your rookie, he's there. He's already thrown for 300 plus yards a game. He's already, got 5 touchdown passes, stood tall, taking some hits, got a quarterback rating over 100. You draft him 6 overall? Nah, this is his team.
And it's no guarantee just because you pick a quarterback high that he's going to do well. So there's as many busts as there are hits up at that point in the draft. So looking at him and saying, yeah, we really think this guy can play. Watching him at Oregon, the frustrating thing for me at times was I thought the offense kind of handcuffed him at times, that they were too conservative, that they didn't let him throw the ball enough, that they didn't let him handle the ball enough. I mean, we've seen that he can run as well. It seemed like they took the ball out of his hands more than I would have. And maybe that hurt the evaluation some. I don't know. But this is Sean Payton and what he remembers about evaluating him for the draft.
I remember him very well. I remember the interview process. I remember the combine, the evaluation, the tape, all of it. He was an impressive prospect, extremely smart with a live arm. I think I know from our standpoint, I can't imagine any other team, but we felt like we had a great exposure based on all the postseason opportunities we had to look at. So I do remember him, and it's good to see that he's doing well.
I think that's one of the more underrated parts of the draft process. Why would the Saints interview Justin Herbert? They weren't going to draft him. They had no chance to draft him. They weren't within 20 picks of being able to draft him, probably, whatever it was. But you get to know a kid a little bit because you're going to have to play against him.
Yeah.
That part of those evaluation, processes. Why would you go and watch Trevor Lawrence work out if you're anybody but the team with the number 1 pick? You go because you can see things. Yeah, you can watch him work out in an intimate setting where you're not going to have that opportunity. And guess what? He might end up in your division.
Yeah.
So you go and you scout those guys, even though you know the possibility of them being on your team is very, very small. Or, you know what? They may come back around. I'm sure that Peyton did the same thing with Jameis Winston 5 years ago. Even though he knew that they weren't going to draft him, hey, guess what? He's going to end up in our division. Well,
right.
Let's go take a look. Let's go talk to him. Let's get to know him a little bit. And you never know. Down the road somewhere, he may end up coming back around being on your team.
And sometimes these offensive minds like Sean Payton, they just want to go see.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to see, man, I want to see what this kid's all about. I know he's got a big arm. Why not? Let me go see what he's got. Let me interview this guy. Let me see where his football mind is. And so there's some of that intrigue. I know Norv used to do that. Like, we weren't drafting anybody. We had Phillip Rivers, but Norv would go make it a point. He'd go, you want to check out the quarterback, and he'd mess with Phillip. He'd come in the locker room, hey, I just saw that guy work out. I don't know, those young legs, just stuff like that. So some of that's that. But you make a great point. He's coming up on the schedule. You know he's coming up on the schedule, especially when you know, like, your guys, like if I'm of the Ravens and I know that Joe Burrow is going to be selected with the number 1 pick from the Bengals, maybe I go that pro day. Now I know pro day looked a little bit different this year, but you know what I'm saying. So normally you would go to that. And I think Sean Payton has a love for great quarterback play. And so I'm assuming that he's watching what he's been able to do, pushing the ball down the field, taking the top off the defense, and it's something that concerns him, but he also appreciates it.
A little bit more from Payton on Herbert.
Look, I think it's not the file so much as the team and the scheme and how he's fitting immediately into it. I think you have to look at what are strengths, what he did well in college. Was he a guy that turned it over, or was he a guy that protected the ball? But I think you're going to study more closely the system. Obviously, it'll be a little bit uniquely different than when Tyrod's in there, and you cover all those things, but you really got to defend what you're seeing on tape.
Are the Chargers going to make the playoffs?
No. Then
there's no reason not to play him. There's no even if the Chargers were in contention, they're a better team with him. Right. Tyrod Taylor is a journeyman quarterback. There's nothing wrong with his career.
No.
He started some games.
He's a very good placeholder.
Yes, and he's Steve DeBerg. Okay, he just he started a bunch of games, but he's never been that guy. Okay, and he's not the future of the Chargers. Herbert is. Now, if Herbert wasn't ready, if there was there's a very clear gap in what he knew and what he needed to know to be a starter, but that is not the case. They're going through the same thing down in Miami, where the pressure is mounting for them to put Tua in the game. And if Fitzmagic did go down for a game and Tua went out and had this type of game, you'd be hearing the same conversations down in Miami. They haven't gotten there yet. As it is, the Chargers have seen Herbert play, and they're better. They're not potentially better. They're better.
Yeah, you're 1-3 to your point, and you're in the Chiefs division. Okay, so you look at that and you say, you know what? I like our team, but I know where we're at right now. We've lost some close games, but you know what? We've lost those close games with him and our quarterback. We haven't gotten blown out.
Yeah.
We had the Chiefs on the ropes. We had the Buccaneers on the ropes. Now you got to find a way to close that game because that's a problem. That's on you. There's a reason why you're losing those close games, but there's a lot to like there. So we know once you get this kind of production, and he not only doesn't make your team get worse and lose games, he actually makes your team better, and you drafted him 6 overall. Hey, throw him out there. The Dolphins, I think, 1 more week, 2 more weeks, they got Fitzmagic out there before they say, you know what?
Who's also Steve DeBerg, by the way.
He's Steve DeBerg plus.
He's more like Steve DeBerg actually than Taylor because he's been to more teams. Steve DeBerg played for, I think, 27 out of the 28 teams that were in the league when he was playing. The Saints will see Justin Herbert for the first time on Monday night. We'll take a break. When we come back, Chris Doring from the SEC Network will be with us 4-2 now. The Braves have gotten a run back, bottom of the third. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Richards Honda, the title sponsor of the show every single day. Wanted to tell you the Richards Honda trade-in, trade-up event is coming soon. Right now, get more money for your trade and a great price and something new. They have made upgrading your ride easy at richardshonda.com during that trade-in, trade-up event. So go to richardshonda.com to find more information on that. I've been telling you over the last couple of weeks, the buy from home option is right there on the homepage, a 7-step process to make sure that you get the vehicle you want. And also, they can have that car delivered to you. So you can do it from your home, you can do it from your office, and that car can actually be delivered right there to you. You don't even have to go into the dealership. But I would encourage you, go check out the 700-plus new and pre-owned vehicles over at Richards Honda. That's I-12 and Millerville. No matter what your need is, they've got something for you. Midsize, full-size SUV, van, truck, car, hybrid, you name it. They've got it over at Richards Honda. That's why it's home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Coming up on Wednesdays Off the Bench, we close the book on the football week that was, and we give birth to a new one as we look forward to the best matchups of Week 5 in the NFL and Week 3 in the SEC. Plus, Booger McFarland stops by. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. It was a productive commercial break for you. The Braves scored 2 runs, right?
They did. And I was yelling at the TV because there's a history with Ronald Acuna and the Marlins, and after he hits a leadoff tater, they hit him right in the middle of the back. And I told you, that's why I couldn't play baseball. You hit me in the middle of my back after I hit a home run, and there's a history there with that pitcher. We're going to have a conversation. It's probably going to end with me getting kicked out.
It's kind of a risky thing to do in the playoffs. You run the risk of your starting pitcher getting run. In a really bad situation, you run the risk of your starting pitcher getting suspended. I mean, they don't usually do that. I'll give you a hockey analogy, okay? There's not as many fights. There's not as many drop the gloves and go in the playoffs because it's serious.
Right,
we got to win the game, man. Look, I mean, in the regular season, I'm gonna go make a point. I'll drill a guy, or I will drop the gloves and we'll go. You miss 1 out of 162, or 5 out of 162, or whatever it is, a week. You miss playoff games, man. Now you drill a guy in the back. That's a base runner. That's a run.
Who came around and score?
The run might end up being the difference in the ball game. The game might be the difference in the series, man. We ain't got time for no shenanigans here. We gotta win a baseball game.
So I should be thankful that they hit Acuna.
I'm surprised.
He came around and scored.
I'm surprised that in a playoff, even with the lead, I'm surprised that they drilled him. That's usually something they'll file it away. And next spring training, they'll drill you in a game in like Sarasota or something. Yeah. It's like, hey, remember what you did in the playoffs? You bleepity bleep.
Yeah.
But you're not going to hit him here.
He slowly walked out to the mound, and he still had the bat in the hand, and the Marlins were chirping him. He said, "Hold on, I just want to have a conversation real quick." But he did have the bat.
Chris Doering from the SEC Network joins us now. Chris, good afternoon. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was ready.
Probably, selling a home. He's got the big mortgage company. You've got those rates really low.
The rates are low right now.
I'm sure that's what he's got going on.
The interest rates are very low. Marlins have never lost a postseason series. Of course, they've only made.
Of course, when they're in there, they do win it. You're right.
They only made the playoffs twice, and it's almost like a wrinkle in time. Did the Marlins really win the World Series?
They bought it twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
And immediately sold it off as soon as it was over. But who else in professional sports has a perfect record in the postseason? Nobody. I mean, they haven't won every game of every series, but they've won every series that they've ever played. It's kind of remarkable.
I remember
watching
when you think
that
about it. 97 World Series, almost pitch to pitch, every pitch of it, and Jarrett Wright was going for the Indians. He pitched Game 1 and Game 7, I believe. And our guy Josh Booty actually got a championship ring from that Marlins team. That Marlins team, I mean, they had a bunch of vets that they went out there and they bought. Now they tore it down to build it back up, to tear it back down, to kind of go over and over again the same process.
That one aggravated me. Not that I have anything against the Marlins. I could care less one way or the other. But Chad Oje, who was the ace on LSU's first national championship team, would have been the MVP had Jose Mesa not blown the save. OJ was just off the hook. Not only had he pitched great, but he'd gotten at least one, if not two, key hits.
Yeah.
And he was an American League pitcher.
During that Gorilla Ball era, baby.
He was going to be the MVP of the series had Mesa saved the Game 7. Of course, he didn't. Now we got Chris Doering ready to go. Chris, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, guys, I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me back.
All right, so we've been getting rotating opinions on Stetson Bennett IV, what he was able to do last week against Auburn, what this upcoming game against Tennessee. Is it his job now for forevermore, or do you still need to see more?
I got to ask you a question. Somebody has a bad opinion about Stetson Bennett IV there?
No, not a bad opinion, but the opinion that he may not be able to hold that job the entire season, that JT Daniels at some point will eventually overtake him. Not that he has played badly at this point, no.
I would say that, I mean, to me, it's sort of a collapse. I don't see any reason why you would make a change. I mean, with the strength of this team coming into the year with the defense, clearly that is an elite defense after watching the way they completely shut down Auburn on Saturday. But what you want to do is you want to have somebody that can come in, that can manage the offense well, that's not going to turn the football over, that puts people in positions to be successful and takes advantage of opportunities when they're there. And I think that's one thing that that Stetson Bennett did really well that Bo Nix did not. If you go back and look at it, Bo Nix missed Anthony Schwartz twice behind the Georgia secondary. And Hester and I mentioned in our show this morning, like, you're not going to get many chances to hit big plays against Georgia's defense. So if you don't take advantage of it when they're there, those are opportunities missed. And conversely, I look back at the post that was thrown to Kyrus Jackson for a long gain and the go route down the sideline that George Pickens would hit when he had one-on-one coverage. They took advantage of opportunities that were there, and Stetson Bennett made the play. So I don't see any reason why you would deviate from the plan, to me, that plays to the strength and a guy that can take advantage when those opportunities present themselves.
The question, I guess, would be, do you trust him to be able to make enough plays against an Alabama and Florida where you know it's going to take some points, that those games aren't going to end up – those teams are going to score more than the 6 points that Auburn scored. The game's probably not going to end up 17-14. Can he make enough plays to get into a game with those type of offenses and produce?
Well, let's put it this way. I have a larger sample size at Georgia with him doing it than I do of Dwan Mathis or of JT Daniels at this point. I mean, the hypothetical situation of what JT Daniels can bring is a mystery to all of us, but these coaches have been watching JT Daniels play in practice every single day. I would imagine if he was definitively better, he would have already won that job at this point. So it really has been a strange story, even dating back to the Jamie Newman stuff at the beginning of the summer. The path that's gotten us to Stetson Bennett IV has certainly been not a straight one by any means, but I think it's been one that I can relate to as a guy that grew up a Gator fan. I wanted to play at Florida, walked on, and it meant a lot more to me than it did a lot of my teammates. And I see that same thing with Stetson Bennett, being a guy that not only walked on, but left, went to junior college, and then came back again, and now has won the starting job. And you can tell he's really invested in it emotionally and has prepared himself accordingly. Yeah, no, you're right. It's an incredible story, CD. I mean, you're walking onto the team, and then you decide you want to go play somewhere. You actually commit to Louisiana Lafayette. Then you decide, no, I'm going to go back to Georgia on scholarship once they offer that. So it's a very unique story. So I think Stetson Bennett right now needs to be the quarterback for Georgia because he has proven that. Let's look at that game a little bit more in detail. What chances do you give Tennessee traveling to Athens? Tennessee, the first couple of games, regardless of the opponent, they've looked a lot better than they started out the season last year. That's without doubt. They've won 8 games in a row. They have now gained some confidence. And up front, the addition of Cade Mays, they got one of the better offensive lines in the entire SEC. You know what the most generalized phrase in our conference is? The SEC is a line of scrimmage league, but it's also the most true mantra as well. You look at what Tennessee has done; they've completely changed what they look like on the offensive line. Remember, their offensive line a couple years ago was an absolute joke. Brandon Kennedy at the center position, Trey Smith getting back to his normal form. You adding Cade Mays there. I mean, I think they got 4 4-stars on that offensive line now. So there's some dudes there, and then the defensive line is actually playing a lot better. DeAndre Johnson has come out of nowhere in his senior year. I think he has 3.5 sacks in the first 12 games of the season. They're able to create some pressure without having to blitz consistently. So I've really been impressed with the upgrade of their offensive defensive line. The bottom line, though, is that Georgia's the ultimate litmus test, right? Georgia has the best accumulation of athletes in the SEC East. They've been to Atlanta here the last, 3 years or so. This is going to tell how much Jeremy Pruitt has, how far they've come. And I don't know necessarily if they're going to be up to the task of winning, but I think Tennessee fans would feel pretty happy about their ability to compete. And let's not forget, last year they competed when they played Alabama and Tuscaloosa. They competed much better than what we expected them to. So I'm not going to say they have no chance in this ball game, but I think this is going to be a really telling week to know how far that program has come in the last couple of years under Jeremy Pruitt.
Speaking of competitive, how competitive did you think Texas A&M was against against Alabama? And then you got Florida coming in. Do you give them any kind of shot this week?
I do not think that they are competitive this week. I did not think they were competitive last week. I thought they were competitive against Vanderbilt, who in hindsight, after LSU dismantled them on Saturday, may not be as impressive as we thought they were. Texas A&M, to me, is the biggest fraud in the first 2 weeks of the season. And, I think you go back and people can say, well, they were tied 14-all. The reason they were tied 14-all is because Alabama had 2 busts in communication on defense where they let them hit 2 big plays. Other than that, I thought Alabama's defense played really well, and Alabama showed why they're the most complete team in the SEC right now. That offense is really humming. And that trio of wide receivers with John Mechie stepping up and kind of filling the hole of that third wide receiver spot as a dangerous guy. What did he catch? A 78-yard touchdown and then a 53-yard touchdown, I think. So this dude is legit, and I didn't see anybody in Texas A&M's defense that was able to keep up with any of those wide receivers. So I have my own concerns about Florida. I think Florida's offensive line needs to improve. Certainly the defense needs to be a lot better. They need to be able to get some pressure up front with their front four, and they all need to tackle better. But I do think it's it's still a different level of talent from where Florida is to where A&M's shown themselves to be in the first 2 weeks.
CD, I thought Auburn was completely out of sync against the Georgia Bulldogs, and going back and watching some of the Arkansas game against Mississippi State, is it crazy to think that Arkansas not only will cover this game, but they have a real shot at upsetting Auburn on the road?
I think it does, and you and I discussed it a little bit this morning. Like, to me, I was not believing in that win in Week 1 over Kentucky. That was more about Kentucky losing the ball game after turning the ball over 3 times and running a fill-time fake punt in their own territory. I thought they were going to have trouble with Georgia, particularly because the biggest offensive play in Week 1 for Auburn was throw it up to Seth Williams and let him make plays. That works against Kentucky's secondary. That does not work against Georgia's secondary. Guys like Tyson Campbell and DJ Daniel, I thought they played really well with their length and physicality in shutting down Seth Williams, who only ended up having 3 catches on Saturday. So I think Auburn has some real offensive concerns. I do think Tank Bixby's going to be an absolute man when it's all said and done. But right now, I think their offensive line is a little sketchy, and I do think that they were manhandled by the more physical Georgia defense on Saturday. So I think Arkansas, you watch their defense, they fly around, they play assignment strong, they line up where they're supposed to, which is a much different set of dynamics than what we've seen from Arkansas defense the last couple of years.
Chris Doering is our guest. Chris, I in no way think that Ole Miss can beat Alabama on Saturday, but for some reason I think this is going to be an entertaining game, if for no other reason than to see what Lane Kiffin can come up with against Alabama's defense. So we've seen Ole Miss twice. They can certainly put points on the board. What do you think? How do you think they fare against the Alabama defense?
Take the over. I have no idea what it is, but take the over.
68.5. I looked.
How much is it? 68.5?
68.5.
68.5? Yeah, take the over. I can't. Hester and I were laughing about this morning. I don't know that Ole Miss's defense stopped Alabama at all this game, but I also think Alabama's going to have some trouble with Lane Kiffin's offense. I mean, you go back and watch. That might be the most entertaining offense in the SEC right now. Look at it at the way that they're utilizing their weapons, which they have a ton of offensively. Look at Jaron Ely and looking at the way that Jonathan Mingo came out of nowhere. I mean, there's so many different weapons offensively, and they use them very creatively. I think Matt Corral is not given the exposure or given the credit that he deserves right now, because he is playing at a really high level and a guy that seems to understand that offense and really is taking advantage of all those weapons that line up around him.
All right, CD, there's a lot of pressure. Kentucky, Mississippi State, the Kentucky Wildcats 0-2 start. Now, we've talked about it until we're blue in the face, no pun intended there. They had 2 opportunities to win games, and they went out there and they lost those games. Mississippi State upsets LSU, then they lose to Arkansas. It feels like there's a lot of pressure in that game, but more on Kentucky's side.
Definitely on Kentucky, and really it's been all about Kentucky in the first 2 weeks of the season. They've self-sabotaged worse than any other team in the conference right now. Turnovers in Week 1. Again, we mentioned the fake punt that cost them at the end of the game when they had a chance. You look at this past week, it was the celebration of A.J. Rose prematurely and then the subsequent fumble. It was penalties that happened at the worst possible time. It was a missed field goal and then a missed extra point at the end. These are mistakes that we're not used to seeing Kentucky make, and to see them make them as consistently as they have in the first 2 weeks of the season are really concerning. So it is a game. I think there's a high sense of urgency for both teams. Mississippi State coming off a performance where they were exposed a little bit by Arkansas's game plan. But at the end of the day, I think Kentucky needs this game really bad because the schedule gets pretty difficult for them here after this one.
Chris Doering, we appreciate it. Enjoy the football weekend, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Fun being on. Talk to you soon.
Chris
See you,
Dorn
Cindy.
from the SEC Network. We'll take a break. 4-3 now. Miami and Atlanta, bottom of the fourth inning. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, as a former LSU student athlete, I can tell you your Tigers give 110% each day. They are not only committed to winning in competition, but in the classroom as well. I've told y'all so many times what TAF means to LSU athletics, and they really set us up for success. And LSU is also one of the very few programs in the nation who remains self-sufficient in its operations. But this year, as we all know, there is things out of the control. LSU athletics is facing unforeseen adversity due to the restrictions around COVID-19. The loss of essential revenue to LSU athletics will be in the tens of millions of dollars. This is a good time to remind ourselves that we're Tigers and our go never stops. LSU and the Tiger Athletic Foundation is urging everyone to donate to the Victory Fund to help keep LSU student athletes going. The Victory Fund will provide financial support for the most critical areas of need, including scholarships, healthcare, and academic support for student athletes. Your support is critical to the future of LSU athletics. You can learn more information and donate at victory.lsutaf.org.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janny King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Janny King, the king of clean.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Rowan Davey talking Tigers, Larry Holder talking Saints, and UFC legend, the Iceman, Chuck Liddell joins us. Join us as well, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we are brought to you In part today by Supreme Rice. You know, we may have to hunker down here a little bit later on in the week. You know what you do? You make yourself a big pot of jambalaya because you can keep that stuff for a while and eat it during having to lose power. Make it with Supreme Rice. We love Supreme Rice out of Crowley, Louisiana since the 1930s. Help out our Louisiana farmers. You know, the last time a big old hurricane came through here, it hit them pretty hard down in southwest Louisiana, Hurricane Laura. So know that all of the Supreme Rice is grown, milled, and processed right there in southwest Louisiana. And, of course, whether it's the brown, the long grain, or the jasmine rice, you can pick it up at many, many different locations, including all your Walmarts, all your Costco's, all of your AG food dealers. Delicious recipes and more information at supremerice.com. We may have to watch an LSU football game somewhere else than Tiger Stadium this weekend. We'll see that. You know, LSU's still hanging in there, but by tomorrow night, I think there'll probably be a plan in place. And if they have to move this game, whether it be to a Houston or a Dallas or I guess a last ditch effort would be to Columbia. They're not
Como action.
They're not really wild about that idea, but it does remain on the table. I don't think anything's out of play at this point. Shreveport is also a possibility. You know, they moved the Bayou Classic to Shreveport this week. They made the announcement about the game in the spring.
It was a little surprising to me. I thought because they're playing the spring season, they would still be able to have that game there. So I was a little surprised when I heard that news.
For Grambling fans that have made the long trip to New Orleans, where Southern fans have been an hour, now it's kind of reversed, right?
Have you ever? I'm sure you have. You ever been to one of those games?
The Bayou Classic? Yeah.
Oh, they're fantastic.
I worked for the Southern flagship for 6 years.
Yeah.
So been to the Bayou Classic. Been to games at Mumford. Been to called basketball and baseball games for 3 years. So it takes on a life of its own. The atmosphere around the games there. It's the one game where I think there are just as many people interested in the Battle of the Bands as there are the outcome of the football game. That's a very, very big deal. The Battle of the Bands. It's way more than a halftime show. Okay,
right.
I mean this is the Battle of the Bands. Everything that the Thanksgiving weekend. Okay, everything from Thanksgiving night all the way through Sunday. Becomes about the Classic. I don't know how to do in Shreveport. I don't know what the atmosphere around the game will be like. They only moved it to one time, the Katrina year that they had to move it to Houston. So I don't know, but it'll be interesting. You're from Shreveport. I mean, you tell me what an event like that will do.
They'll draw big numbers. There's a ton of Grambling and Southern alumni up in that part of the state, and also they're going to come over from Texas, going to come down from Arkansas. It will be a big event, and they'll have a big crowd. But you know me. I always want something good for my hometown of Shreveport, but something's not right when that game's not in the Superdome.
Well, they play the game in late November outdoors. You can run into some pretty nasty weather. This is in the middle of April.
Yeah,
you ought to have fabulous weather. It's going to be weird enough that we're watching actual college football in the spring. Yeah. But at least you're going to have good weather.
I can tell you this, and I might catch some flack from this, but one thing you can always count on with Independence Stadium and the Independence Bowl crew, which I would assume is going to be a part of helping them put this together, you are going to get treated in a first-class way. Ask any head coach that's ever been to the Independence Bowl. They get treated like a first-class VIP. They roll the red carpets out, so hopefully Southern and Grambling get that same treatment.
The two times that I covered the Independence Bowl, the two times LSU was there, the event is extremely well run. I mean, extremely well run. Okay, 4-3. They go to the fifth with the Marlins leading the Braves. Ask Us is next. We'll do that in the Bayou Ford chat when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. and avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Mike Anderson Seafood to recap both Monday Night Football games, preview Game 4 of the NBA Finals, and more. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Time for Ask Us in the Bayou Ford chat as we wrap up here today. Our first one is Eddie Van Halen passed away of cancer at the age of 65. And we gotta check in on my man Jacques Doucet. He's the biggest Van Halen fan that there is. So Craig wants to know what's your favorite Van Halen song?
I don't know.
You're not a Van Halen guy?
Yeah, no.
Oh, and there's a lot of them. I love "I'll Wait" is a great song. "Dreams" is a great song. "Right Now" is a great song. There's a lot of stuff that I like from from Van Halen, first run and the second run. David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, both of them. Let's see.
As I'm looking, yeah. I mean, I like Hot for Teacher, I like Panama, I like Jump.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's probably like the more overplayed ones, but that's the ones I know.
Well, that was 1984. That was the last of the Diamond Dave first round of it. There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good. I've seen him in concert multiple times. And anyway, ask us, rank these sandwiches: Subway, Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's, Firehouse, Quiznos.
Yes to all of them.
Yes.
I mean, I love a sandwich. I love like going, and my father-in-law gives me the hardest time. He's like, hey, you can make a sandwich at home. I'm like, I know that, but it does not hit the same. Like, it's hard to beat a good Jimmy John's. Hard to beat it.
The meatball sub.
So good. Get
love
out of here, ball. Go. No, it didn't go.
About 400 feet.
God.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
Right short of the warning track. All right, spin the wheel.
Close. It was close.
Spin the wheel.
Would you rather have to travel every day for a year or never leave your home for a year? That's a good one.
That is.
There's some people that love traveling. I'm not. I mean, I like going destination wise, but if I had to do it every week for work,
I don't want to be stuck in my house for a year. The COVID has taught me one thing is I don't want to be stuck in my house every day for that period of time. Travel is that encompasses a whole lot of territory there. Does it mean I have to get on a plane every day? Does it mean I have to commute 2 hours every day? But I know I don't want to stay inside all day every day for a year.
I was so spoiled the last couple of years traveling with LSU football, pulling the bus up to the plane.
Yeah.
That's a big difference than going through security and having to wake up and be at the Gainesville airport at 5 a.m.
Yeah, if we're flying private, that's a whole different thing than going park at the airport for sure. All right, spin the wheel.
All right, let's go. Would you rather be a practicing doctor or a medical researcher?
Would think the practicing doctor makes more.
That's exactly where my head went.
I wouldn't have operated well under that.
All right,
kind of pressure.
I want to get everybody in on this one. Would you rather live in a cave or live in a tree house?
Cade.
I'm going to go with a cave. I'm going to go with a cave.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a tree house. There's a lot of critters that can be in a cave. In a tree house, I feel like I'm at least away from the big cats, the big predators.
Marty?
I'm Team Treehouse as well. Whatever that show was on Discovery Channel, I forgot what Treehouse Masters or whatever. You could do some really cool stuff with a treehouse, whereas a cave,
our friend Todd,
just a cave.
Todd Graves was on that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a hell of a. Paul, you a tree dweller or a cave dweller?
I'm going treehouse.
Why?
You at least get a view. The cave kind of seems dark and lonely.
Okay, so I was right there with you on the critters, and so I was going to go treehouse as well. And then I remembered that snakes can be in the trees too.
I'm
so
a snake bite survivor, Hanny. It's just
you're
a survivor.
I'm still going to say
bats in a cave.
I'm still going to say treehouse.
Yeah, bats. Don't even talk about bats. They started this whole mess.
It's way too much. Way too much can happen to you in the cave. So I'm going to say treehouse as well.
This one I feel like plays into this show because of the meat locker. Would you rather live without the internet or live without AC and heating?
I could live without the internet a lot.
I lived without the internet, as a teenager growing up until I got to college. Really, it was the first time I really remember the internet.
Okay, before there was any internet.
I have to have an AC. I have to.
If we're going to live here, trying to get through the summer. Well, okay, look, we got a hurricane coming, right? And the hurricane, if it hits us the way it's supposed to hit us, there's some similarities to Gustav. Gustav was the last time we were without power here for that long. Now, there's been other times where we've been without power, but Gustav knocked out power for the longest time since I've been in Baton Rouge. That was not and I was in right there at the beginning of September, so it was hot. I mean, hot. So forget about it. No, gotta have the AC.
Would you rather be able to teleport anywhere or be able to read minds? Oh, another good one.
If you read people's minds, you might find out a lot of things you don't want to find out. You ever see that movie with was it Mel Gibson where he could read women's minds?
What women want?
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
And after about a day's worth of that, it pretty much drove him mad. So he was like, I don't want this.
I think it depends on who you are. If you're very sensitive, if when someone says, hey, you suck at radio, and you take that like very offensively, then you probably don't want to read minds. But if you're like me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't really know how you are at your job, but best of luck to you, pal. Like, that doesn't affect me. Like, I'd much rather teleport. Like, I want to go home now.
Right. No, I would take the teleport thing. Too much information is a dangerous thing.
I feel like Playboy and Paul need to answer this one because I feel like they're ready to go over there.
For sure.
This is super easy to me. Teleportation, easy. I've got really no desire to read minds. I just don't see that many positives that come from that. And just being able to go wherever I want. My brother lives in Phoenix. I could go see him whenever I wanted. That'd be nice.
That's it. I knew him.
I'm dying to hear what Paul has to say.
Okay, Paul. You better live up to it.
I'm teleport. I don't care to read people's minds. I like getting somewhere quick.
You know where the mind reading thing would come in really handy is at the poker table. So I mean, can I have that for like 6 hours a week?
Don't get me wrong. Like the first initial, as soon as I started talking about reading minds, I'm like, okay, how can I get an advantage in gambling? That's the first place I went.
Sure. Kate, you?
Oh, I got to teleport all the way. I don't care to know what other people are thinking. But considering Baton Rouge traffic, if I can just like get home that much quickly, or go on vacation somewhere, hop around.
One of the things we talked about yesterday, what's one of the useless facts or something that I think it was yesterday or the day before. One of the things that I found out and I forgot about, and I was like, I want to remember that for tomorrow's show. The creator of Legos actually had children. That surprised me because if you've ever stepped on a DAMN Lego at 3 a.m. when you're trying to go get a glass of water, you're like, there's no way that someone with children has ever created these things because it happens, Hanny, all the time.
Because when you take out the Legos of the blocks, as I found out, you take out all of them.
Oh,
and
there's not
some
just
of them.
one. There's not some. It's every swinging one that you have.
Yeah.
That was a random fact that I've found troublesome.
That's how we open blocks, Daddy. We go all over the living room.
Seems to me the guy that invented Legos has probably got enough money to have somebody pick up the Legos for him. Probably. I'm just on a guess. Okay, we got time for one more.
Would you rather live on the beach or in a cabin in the woods? I know your answer, I think.
I would rather live on the beach. I mean, I just
really?
like the
I thought
water.
you hated sand.
I do. But
Okay.
the water, the smells, the sights, and all that stuff. I would. Now, when you say on the beach, you mean like in a house on the beach, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
Okay.
they're not saying you're going to
see,
sleep
I can
in the sand.
look at the beach. Okay. Now, if the house is in the sand, then no. Okay. But if the house is on the beach, I can look out over the beach.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love both, but it's hard to beat a cabin in the woods in like the Rocky Mountains in the Colorado area.
All right.
Hard to beat it.
For Cade Wazan, for Paul O'Neill, for Playboy Marty, and Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and
This is it, what smart customers wait for all year. The Richards Honda Trade-In, Trade-Up event. Right now, get more money for your trade and a great price on something new. That's a win-win. Only at richardshonda.com. The smart choice.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.